Hey everyone, it is your host RP here, and one of the raptors got out, as you'll hear during the recording, and ripped the wires out. So from the 26-minute, 23-second mark to about the hour and 10-minute mark, the audio quality slips up and sounds like it's being recorded through a tin can, as producer Nick always refers to it as.
That's what we get for recording on Ila Sorna.
Ilahuha. But we'll do our best in post to clean it up. There's some really great material in there, and anything that is not considered essential to this episode will be cut to make sure that we're not wasting any of your time with poor audio. So that's why I give you the minute mark so you can skip if you want to. But with that being said, enjoy the episode. It was a lot of fun to record, so I hope you enjoy listening to it. Welcome to our Jurassic rewatch.
That's not how it goes.
Three unqualified morons with microphones. This is the previously recorded podcast. All right, welcome to Jurassically Recorded. I am your host, Robert Hammond, and this episode of Jurassically Recorded is brought to you by InGen. If you want dinosaurs back, give them money. I don't know. Helping me today to discuss all things dinos is
Dr. Shane Grant.
Yeah, Dr. Shane
Dr.
Grant.
Bob Malcolm.
No, I was going to say Dr. Bobby Sadler.
I wanted Bob Malcolm, actually. Or unless you want to...
Dr. Bob
do you
Malcolm.
want to fuck? I'm a chaos theorist.
Well, Dr. Sadler and Dr. Grant, they do have a romantic... We'll get into it. It's a whole thing. But boys, how are we doing today? What's new?
The wheel.
The wheel
is
new.
new.
The wheel is not new for me, but it's new for the show.
It is.
It's Bob. How do you describe the wheel?
It's electric.
It is very electric.
So,
I mean, Nick, I think we said on the last episode that the wheel was going to be electric. We had already addressed that.
yeah, Nick was part of the idea for this, and Nick, I think you were supposed to be a part of this episode, and I completely forgot.
Well,
Well, he got the
he
he
got
got
COVID,
COVID-wovy, so
He
he couldn't
did
be
get
on anyway.
he did get the COVID, and we had to be in person today though because we all have to take a spin on the wheel. Because if you listen to our Dr. Tyrannosaurus Rex in the Multiverse of Madness, we did bring this up at the end of the episode how we were going to buy a wheel and start to incorporate it into our episode. So, Dr. Malcolm, if you want to explain how the wheel works.
Well, I mean, before we even get to that, I accidentally bought a wheel the next day after we recorded.
It happens to the best of
I
us.
accidentally bought two wheels, to
Yeah.
be honest. So there's one now currently in my
In your
office
studies?
at
Yes.
the university, and now there's also one that we're going to use for the show. So for this wheel, there's 10 spots on the wheel, but there's 5 different colors, and so since I came with the wheel and my
Your
specialty
background.
is chaos and not
Yes.
dinosaurs, I chose 5
Yes.
dinosaurs. The T-Rex, the Compy, a Brachiosaurus, a Raptor, the dying Triceratops that has gigantic piles of shit. And we're just going to randomly spin the wheel, and whatever it comes up on, I'm going to try to make that dinosaur noise.
Yeah, we'll let you know when it's being spun.
Now, you'll hear it.
Yeah, we're going to put a microphone up to it. We actually have 4 microphones tapped today, one for the wheel.
It was supposed to be Nick's microphone.
Yeah.
actually a good idea.
Hold on, pause
Like,
this. So yeah, we're putting that microphone to good use. So if you hear this sound, chaos theory. So Bob, you landed on.
The dying Triceratops.
So if you were in the wild and you had to save your life, this is the noise you had to make. What would that sound like?
There's some huffing, so it's like...
That's weirdly what I sound like.
I'm going to remember what the Triceratops sounds like, to be honest.
It just was like
I was too busy looking at Lord there.
23-year-old Laura Dern. Yeah, we took a trip this last week.
Recently, yeah.
All of us to Isla Nubar,
We first,
First.
and then,
And then we went
liked it so
to-
much.
Isla Huha, And then finally on the third one,
It's Isla Sorda for the 2 and 3.
and then for the third one, Isla Huha.
What? This is my first time on that island. What's that?
It's just an island.
It's a Costa Rican
Well,
island where it rains all the
It
time.
was a Jurassic Park 3 callback.
We're direct. Yeah, we are.
Because I'm Dr. Grant.
We're jumping the gun here. Who am I? I don't even make it to the third one.
You're Hammond.
I don't even make it to the third one.
Maybe you need to.
I just leave.
Malcolm's not in all of them either.
I just leave.
You're the T-Rex.
Yeah, I guess so. You know what? And then he gets
get
killed in the
fucked
third
in
one.
the
The
third
third
one.
one. So, if you can't tell from the title of today's episode, we are here to discuss the Jurassic Park trilogy. We're doing our rewatch. This is our rewatch for the year with the new film. They are kind of phrasing it as the Jurassic franchise, like finale in films. Who knows? In Hollywood, that doesn't mean anything. But we're gonna rewatch them all and discuss them.
Back for Dominion too, right?
Yep, Malcolm, Dern.
Is Hammond, the actor, still alive?
That dude is dead. He looks like a
Okay, so
skeleton in the last
He's
one.
the only one that's not.
Yeah,
back
he's
then.
not. He's not back.
But I don't think you need to have him either, because like the whole thing with
I mean,
Jurassic World is that they figured out
He's just the
how to do
financier.
it correctly, although they didn't. And then so anything with him is kind of just out of the window.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, but yeah, we rewatched Jurassic Park. So Jurassic Park opened to the public on June 11th, 1993. The film's adapted from the book by with the same title, which was written by Michael Crichton, which Universal paid him $2 million for the rights at the time, which was like astronomical, like never kind of heard before that kind of money. But that also included a shot for him to adapt his own book and write the screenplay. The movie opened up to critical and commercial success. It opened to $50.1 million on a $63 million budget, which I cannot confirm if that is under budget or on budget.
I do have budget facts.
Do you?
They spent $65 million on marketing and $63 million on the movie.
Yeah, so I actually have that as well.
It was on that show.
Did you find out what they made in merch also? Because it has to be a lot.
I feel like they made more money in merch for 2 and 3 than they did. Because they
Probably.
clearly are just throwing dinosaurs in and be like, we can sell these on
Absolutely.
We
You
can
gotta
sell
throw
these toys. I think
Dinosaur
that's one
toys.
of one of my notes.
I was literally just wearing a Jurassic Park crew neck, so
Yeah,
they're still
exactly.
making money.
No,
off
you
of
know
this
what? My
merch.
note is
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
2 when we'll get there, but I wrote cool trucks.
Yeah,
And they were definitely like
It was
toys that you could then buy and
Oh,
have
the
the
Jeeps?
car.
Yeah, I think they did.
and the Mercedes-Benz was a product placement in the second one.
They definitely
Yes.
did have
So they had a
those
partnership.
Jeeps.
So we talked about kind of the marketing. So Universal took the time in pre-production to actually plan out the marketing campaign for this movie, which did cost $65 million, which if you ever hear us talk on this podcast kind of about how much money a movie made, we always do say double the budget, and that accounts for the marketing, and then the movie makes money. And this is kind of right on line with the marketing matched the budget for the actual movie.
Which from what I watched, like at the time that was like unheard of.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like a first of its kind of
I had a
that
question
massive.
real quick too. The guy that wrote the book that this is based off
Michael
of,
Crichton.
do they still have to pay him for Jurassic World, or did they like work
He
out some
probably
kind
has
of weird
a contract with them.
So they bought the rights from him. So once you buy the rights, it's kind of done.
Oh, so he kind of got fucked in this deal then.
Well, he made a shit ton
He
of
made
money,
his money.
and
Plus, he wrote
he got a-
Westworld. He wrote ER.
Okay, so
he
he's
wrote
doing pretty good. for himself.
Andromeda
Yeah.
Strain. Yeah, that guy's fine.
there could have been a clause that said like, oh, we still have to pay him a certain amount,
So
or
that-
he'll make it. He also, I think I read that he makes a percentage off of the sales of the tickets.
Does he get like royalties too? Like,
I mean, it's his property. I mean,
because like HBO owns all 3 of the movies, so like, is he getting royalties?
I don't
from
know how
that?
that works with streaming.
well, that's just
now.
streaming. That's just they have the rights to stream that currently.
That's why Steven Spielberg was an executive producer on ER, though. Because Spielberg wanted to do this movie so bad that he agreed to do one of the other things that this guy was working on. And he was writing a script for a movie that he called Emergency Room, and then they turned it into a TV show.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. So, like I said, they took the time to plan out the marketing, which included deals with 100 companies to market thousands of products, such as 3 video games, as we talked about, a toy line, McDonald's deal to offer a dino-sized meal and a series of additional kid books. So the movie opened to a ton of money. It became the highest grossing film at that point with $912.7 million at the box office globally, surpassing, what do you think was the previous holder of at that time?
It, but I don't remember what
and this is kind of surprising to
This
me.
was in 93.
So this was 93. So before Jurassic
Pretty
Park.
Woman?
Yeah, the classic.
No, Pretty Woman was like
Oh, really?
massive hit.
No, it was E.T., so another
Okay.
Spielberg film.
Oh.
So he passed his own film. It became the first film to gross $500 million overseas, so also surpassing E.T., which is 280. And then when it was re-released in 3D in 2013, earned another 90, allowing Jurassic Park to cross the $1 billion threshold, and it is currently the 40th highest grossing movie of all time. Critical response on Rotten Tomatoes is a 92%. Audience is a 91% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty in line, and the sequels are in line,
I wonder
too.
what the bad Rotten Tomato.
That's a good question. So, as I said, this movie was a critical and commercial success. It went on to go 3 for 3 at the 1993 Academy Awards, and in winning Best Sound Editing, Best Sound Mixing, and Best Visual Effects. And as Bob did state already about, Spielberg produced ER at the time because Michael Crichton was writing it. This film, for him doing this film for Universal, also allowed him to go and do Schindler's List. He really wanted to go do Schindler's List, and they said that you do this
first.
because after you do Schindler's List, you might not want to do this.
So
Who did the score for this? Is it someone well known?
John Williams.
John Williams.
I must have missed that when you said it.
So
I didn't say it.
Oh, okay.
So Spielberg was already doing Schindler's List while they were editing this, and they were like telling a story. So I watched the Movies That Made Us episode like while I was watching this. So he's like filming Schindler's List, and then at night he would basically like video conference, like Zoom in 1993. But that's what they were saying, and like they would show like satellite call or whatever. They would show him footage, and he would either be like, "All right, that's good," or he'd be like, "No, we can fix this,
Really?
fix that, fix this." Yeah, with all like the CGI stuff.
That's actually kind of impressive at that point. To
Yeah,
honestly
they were
have
like, "Yeah, we were just
video conferencing.
conferencing," and I was like, "In '93."
Yeah, I wasn't even born yet, which is just crazy to think about that.
I bring up the score though because I think the score for this trilogy is pretty incredible.
We were talking about it. So I watched this at work, not Jurassic Park, but The Lost World and 3. I watched both of them at work during like my prep and stuff like that with a couple of the other teachers there. And my one coworker was like, he would put this as John Williams' best score. And I was like, I don't know if I agree with that, but I
don't know off the top of my
like
head what
Star
else.
Wars,
Oh, okay.
It's my favorite.
Raiders.
I mean,
It's definitely up there.
it's-
Harry Potter, though. I'm like, there's
E.T..
a lot.
It's
to
one
do.
of my favorites.
But this one is like
the main theme is,
Yeah.
is one of my
and
favorites.
every time
from
it
any
comes
movie.
on, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
like, you get like excited. That
Well,
it's on.
the theme is a huge part. It's just so you hear it and you
And you
with
know you're
everything
gonna see something cool right
with
after.
everything with John Williams scores. It's just you immediately think of the movie. There's all
Literally all
iconic.
3 movies when the main theme would start, I was like getting chills because I'm like, I love these movies.
I literally classify it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I loved these movies growing up. So like just
So
all
then we had the
the
conversation.
nostalgia
and I
I
was
was
like,
getting
it's
hit
definitely,
with.
now you say that's definitely top 3.
Yeah.
I don't know that I could put it at one like definitively. I'd have to sit there and listen to all of them, but it's definitely.
I mean, the only other. I mean, Raiders is iconic. Star Wars is iconic. But like, I enjoy a score that's not only iconic but soothing. And this the theme is so soothing. That's why I also love the Harry Potter scores.
Especially like the end theme too. Like I wanted to talk about it, but like we're getting ahead to the third one. The end scene of like the pterodactyls flying
Yeah.
away and they're playing
Yeah.
the theme off of it. I love that. It's like my favorite shot from all 3 movies.
It perfectly encapsulates what you're going to see. You're going
Yeah.
to be at this emotion. You're going to be at this high, at this wonder. This world is being revealed to you like you're the character. And then also with the theme, which we don't listen to a lot because it's towards the end, but then it gets ominous and it gets dark and it's like exactly the plot of the movie. Like it's exactly what a theme should be. Like it tells you kind of the story that you're about to, or at least the themes of the story you're about to see. So I think with that, just like John Williams sets us up, we just set you guys all up to hear us discuss the film.
That was one hell of a segue. Gotta give it to you.
That's it.
You know what that segue deserves?
a spin.
A spin.
A Brachiosaurus. Ha.
Who has to do it?
I do. All the
Oh,
time.
it's all Bob.
This is above it. This is above it.
Long neck. They go, oh, woo, woo.
I wish we had video
And,
because
no,
this
my faces are not.
I like how he made his neck.
Yeah, because you need to give you the air.
You need to act.
and then it sneezes on the one girl. What's her name?
I forget.
Timmy.
Jenny?
Right?
Timmy's sister. I fucking hate Timmy, but that's
I
his
like
sister.
Timmy.
I can't stand him.
Tim. All right, let's talk about the first one. Actually,
Yeah,
let's
so-
talk about Timmy.
So I had.
I'm
So
gonna
we all have notes naturally.
I don't have a lot for the first movie
I
because the
didn't make
first
any for
movie
the
is the
first
standard.
movie,
I will
'cause
say
I've seen it
this:
so many times.
that Sammy J in April gave it a 2.5 stars. Loved it when I was growing up. It doesn't hold up these days. Interesting how that happens. Something that was once exciting becomes boring. And I think that Sammy J is a fucking idiot.
Yeah, this movie is not boring in the least bit.
Her name was Lex.
Lexi.
Okay. So my kind of stance on this movie is that I love this movie so much that I'm going to take the critical approach to the story.
That's kind of how I did it.
So there's one really upsetting scene when it first opens up, and obviously the opening scene is fucking awesome. So we watched this in my new setup, and you know how Audrey hates the surround sound. So literally the first scene before even the credits are rolling, it's literally just like the first name that pops up, it just goes boom, and Audrey just is scared immediately.
I bet a T-Rex roar with that surround sound sounds amazing.
It was awesome.
Probably vibrating.
She kept
the whole
yelling
house.
at me, but it was awesome. It was
It
so
was too
cool.
loud?
This was like, I don't give a shit. Like, this is.
It was too loud. Is that what she was saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you turn your volume up to 8, it's too loud.
Off track. Have you watched Star Wars on the new surround sound yet? Because I bet
no.
like a TIE fighter zipping by. Like,
Well, you
Probably
guys should come and
vibrate the
come
whole
and check it
neighborhood.
out. We'll come watch a movie.
What is the opening scene for one?
So they are doing they're bringing the dinosaur.
The feeding
the goat.
on.
So she eats the dinosaur. The girl eats
The raptor.
the raptor eats the security guard or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
So there's just one jarring scene that has nothing to do with the dinosaur. It's just a human's mouth just saying, "Shoot her!" He shows it like 4 times, and it's just so. It made me
It's the
so
guy.
uncomfortable. Yeah, it's a worker
what's
there.
I forget his name. He's the main guy on the island.
Yeah.
Like the main
It's the-
raptor handler.
Yeah. It's the Christian Pratt of this movie.
Yeah, he's
but it's
Super
just
Mario
so
before Super
uncomfortable.
Mario.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's just his mouth.
Muldoon, right? The
That sounds right.
Muldoon, right? He was,
Yeah,
he
Shane knew that off the top of his head. It's crazy.
He's an expert.
but
he's
the
a
same guy.
He's a
who-
dinosaur
He gets
expert.
hunted by the raptor leader, right? And he's clever.
Clever girl.
That's my favorite line.
That's
from
the best
movies.
line in the first movie.
Clever girl. Yeah, that's
So
Muldoon.
the book actually opens with how the second movie opens with the little girl.
The little girl on the island.
So Spielberg was like, "Nah, we can't do that. Like
Too
that's too
dark.
much." But this scene is just as scary. Like not just as scary, but it's scary. Like it's if at the time '93. Obviously, I've seen this movie like 20 times. It's not scary, but it's still thrilling. Like it's a great opening
every time.
scene.
Like, and if you're because all of them are PG-13,
Just
right? Or
PG.
PG,
Well,
'cause
at the
it-
time, you know,
but it's a little bit more.
You had to
lenient.
be, like, R
Like,
to
we
get
watched
PG-13
it
at
as
the
like
time.
little kids.
Yeah.
and it was still scary.
and it was like still like a good like it was a summer blockbuster.
So what's your critical?
Oh, my critical.
that?
No. From just like a story point of view, one person died. How was that not it? Like, how is it like this is a terrible idea because the lawyer comes in and they're like,
Well, that's why the lawyer comes in.
I know, but he's like, well, one more person dies, and I'm just like, how are they like? John Hammond doesn't give a fuck. He's
John
just like-
Hammond is the villain.
he's absolutely
And
the
it's
villain.
great.
I love it.
It's because it's the potential to make money. They don't give a
Exactly.
Exactly. He's like,
'Cause
well,
it's-
no, it's like we have to don't hurt them. Like
But
he
like-
doesn't even care about his
Yeah.
grandkids.
But like as I'm gonna get to that in just
Yeah.
a second. As a kid, you were scared of the dinosaur,
the dinosaurs are
and
not
then
the villains.
I get older, and I'm like, the dinosaurs are just doing what dinosaurs would do.
It's not their fault. They
John
didn't ask-
Hammond
they
is
didn't
just
ask
a
to be-
huge
to
piece
be
of shit.
brought
Which
to life.
exactly why I have a critique. I'm trying to stay on track as best as possible, but it's
because
nice
what are you
to
gonna go to
look
like a later
the
movie?
third
Let's
one.
hold off then. Let's talk about John Hammond and his terrible decision making.
So I
How
also-
many people are going to die? You have to bring 2 experts to the island for your lawyer to make sure that they approve this so that the investors will stay on.
Yes.
You also want to see your grandchildren. You bring all 4 of those people to the island on the same weekend where you're evacuating your entire staff because the hurricane's going to be so bad. Like, you
Yep.
couldn't just schedule that for a little bit later?
Yeah, critically, it
I
doesn't
was
make
like,
sense.
That doesn't make
But
any sense.
I feel like it's right on brand because what's a billionaire going to do in that situation?
Stay on the island?
He's going to do whatever makes him the most money in the most cost-efficient way. I feel like that's exactly what John Hammond
Because he
would've done.
does say, "I spare no expense in all the food."
They don't spare any expense, which is another issue that I have. Because now everyone is dying.
Which I think.
And this dude's fucking eating ice cream.
So I know.
And that was a scene where I was like, I fucking love to hate John Hammond.
Like his grandkids are missing. And
yeah,
he's
your
just
grandkids
chilling
are out there.
because
and
he
you're in
doesn't
the
want
room
the
by
ice.
yourself eating the ice cream.
Because he doesn't want the ice cream to go to waste. And
Yeah.
it's just like, I understand. I think from a point, okay, you bring the kids because the professionals are going to be there.
Yeah.
Timmy's obviously a huge dinosaur fan.
I've never, and he
sense.
knows who Dr. Grant
He knows who
is.
Dr. Grant is. Makes sense. But
Not
why this
Shane
weekend?
Grant.
Not Shane Grant.
Yeah.
No, sorry.
It's my grandfather.
Yeah.
There is a striking resemblance.
Yeah.
Um.
Yeah, it's my Irish brogue, right?
Yes. Yes, you're Irish.
So that's another fun fact. So,
And I. Go ahead.
Sam Neill is from New Zealand.
I thought he was
I
Irish.
think.
No, because
No.
he plays the guy in Peaky Blinders is Irish.
Really?
And he does a really good Irish accent.
I forget. He has an accent, whatever it is. He might be Australian.
So
No, he's New Zealand British is how he's listed. So anyway, he
Northern
comes
Ireland.
in.
oh,
Born in Omagh County, Tyrone, Northern Ireland.
Why
you
does
go.
it say New Zealand British actor under his name?
I don't know. But I was actually thinking watching the third one, you can kind of
Moved to New Zealand with his family in 1950.
you can hear it in the
You can
first
hear it a
one.
little bit.
You can hear it
So
in the
here's
first one.
here's the thing, right? So he gets casted.
At the ripe age of 46.
He gets casted. He's like, I'm not gonna. He doesn't want to do it. And then he's like, it's Steven Spielberg and dinosaurs. Fuck it, I'm doing this.
Which he said he was casted about 3 to 4 weeks before they started filming.
Yeah.
So he didn't read the book. He
He
didn't.
doesn't know
I think
anything.
he barely
just-
read the
all
script.
he knows is Steven Spielberg dinosaurs.
and
is
he's
all
like,
this guy
he's
knows.
like, I'm in. We got Spielberg. It's
And
fine.
Spielberg goes, well, I want you to do an American accent. And he's like, I don't like doing an American accent. But he did it because it was Spielberg and dinosaurs. And so apparently, like, first day on the set, Spielberg's like, hey, the accent you're doing. He's like, yeah, it's the American accent you want. He's like, yeah, I don't want that. I don't like it. So then he was just talking normal. So then there's scenes where he's just, like, talking with his normal accent. And Spielberg's like, yeah, I don't like that either. You got to do something in the middle. So he was, like, half... And then so Sam Neill was like, then people were like, Sam Neill's American accent is awful.
Yeah,
and
'cause
it's really because Spielberg wanted this like half fake, half real accent.
Well, you know, it initially wasn't Sam Neill. It was the role was first offered to William Hurt and then to Harrison Ford. I think Harrison Ford would have been.
can't.
I think he would have been awful. I think it would have been awful
I just
as Alan
can't.
Grant.
And I don't think Harrison Ford and Jeff Goldblum would have a good rapport.
Nope, they would
I
have
feel like they're
terrible.
similar
I don't
styles
think
of cool.
Harrison Ford would have been able to do a great job in Alan Grant's opening scene where he's a complete dickhead to the kid. And it's a fucking awesome scene. How do you open
I
your
love that
main
scene.
character? Like everybody has like a side to them. Obviously, you know,
Well, 'cause he's not good with kids. He's got
not.
to get better.
Oh, I wanted to talk about that. He fucking terrifies this kid. This kid's like 12 years old.
The raptor would
And
just
he holds a raptor
Yeah.
claw to
Uh-huh.
his, what was his stomach,
It's
right?
like his
He's
gut.
like, they
Yeah.
disembowel you.
yeah.
Yeah. I just want to put that kid
What a
has like the
fucking
most like
psychopath.
that's the most 90s vibe kid ever too. Like that is
Yes.
like the 90s kid vibe. So obviously
But
Alan Grant just
Ellie,
she's great.
she just lets it happen.
Yeah, that's because she can't control her grandpa at the age of 46 and she is 23 in this movie. Crazy what you just found out kind of recently.
I didn't even know that until you guys said it. How did you find out?
Marvel sent something,
I
and
know.
then I saw a Entertainment Weekly posted an article that was the caption, was that
They both talked about how like it was. I saw the article
And, like,
after
I-
the fact.
I never questioned like their age. Like it just they look kind of the same age, and but their relationship is never really romantic.
But it
Like,
is.
But it is, but it isn't. Like
But like he says to Malcolm that they're dating.
yes, yeah. He's like, oh, you guys are together.
Yeah.
I didn't know. But Laura Dern was Spielberg's first choice, but the role was actually offered to Robin Wright from Princess Bride. She turned it down, and Gwyneth Paltrow was also offered
And
the role.
Forrest Gump, that bitch, Jenny.
She turned. Oh yes,
Robin
yeah.
Wright.
Oh, I thought you
Yeah,
said she
nah,
turned that
yeah.
down.
Nah.
And then, which we haven't talked about, Dr. Ian Malcolm yet, but Jim Carrey auditioned for the role of Ian
Dr.
Malcolm.
Ian Malcolm, I would have hated it.
But the casting director felt that Goldblum was a better fit after reading
he's
the
I
book.
feel like Jim
great.
Carrey would have been
great.
too silly.
So we talked about kind of our introduction to these characters. the fucking old guy. What's his name?
Hammond?
John Hammond shows up to Dr. Grant and Sadler's dig site, just pops their special bottle of champagne, and is like, I'll fund your dig.
I want to give you for the next
just
3
started
years.
3 years.
Throwing his dick around.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Look at
Come
how
with
much
me.
money.
And they're like, all right, fuck it, fine, we'll come.
Which, it's crazy that Grant is a piece of shit. And at the end of the day, he is just all about the money.
Yeah, he wants
The
to
first
fund-
time around, yeah, I'll go because you're going to fund this dig site for 3 years. Second time around, he goes, there is nothing, I quote, no force on earth or heaven will take me back to that island. And by the end of that conversation,
he's like, okay, sure.
He's accepting a fake check from William H. Macy.
Yep, basically. I said that, and we'll get to that in the third one, but I said, how do you not cash that check first?
Yeah.
Like,
Or at least, make sure it checks.
like 101, bro.
Yeah.
Like, take this to the bank. Hey, well, this cash?
No, it's not going to cash. Oh, well, I just went to a super dangerous island with dinosaurs.
For nothing. So then they get to the island, and then a lawyer in shorts introduced us to Jeff Goldblum. That drove me nuts. That fucking drove me nuts.
I
dude.
honestly didn't even notice it.
Yeah, he's wearing a suit with shorts. It's just,
A lawyer in
fucking-
shorts.
He is.
It
Isn't he wearing,
boggles
like, a
my
goofy
mind.
hat too.
yes,
Like
he
some kind of
is.
safari
He's
hat.
wearing like a safari hat, a suit top, a bow tie, like a shirt tie, shorts, loafers.
Oh,
So he brings Dr. Ian
that's why he
Malcolm.
gets eaten on a toilet.
It is why, because he's a piece of shit.
He deserved that.
yeah.
He left the kids.
He left the kids. Like, come on,
He
man.
deserved it. Most deserving death.
Not in the trilogy, but in this one.
Yeah, I would put it up with one from the second that we'll get into.
We never get through the first one.
So that scene, I don't remember what the exact joke was. My brother would probably remember.
For what?
But we were watching Jurassic Park like at someone's house when we were kids,
Mhm.
and like probably 7, 8, and the lawyer dies, and like one of my like uncles or my grandfather or somebody was like, "That's what the lawyer gets." Like, just for being a lawyer, he like thought he deserved to get eaten.
I mean, that's what most people would say. So then the lawyer in the shorts brings Jeff Goldblum to the island, who we learn that Jeff Goldblum is not anything with dinosaurs.
Chaos.
He's a mathematician and a chaos theory. So he, well, for whatever reason, he's supposed to be like the guest point of view.
He's like the outsider, just a professional scholar, I guess, who can say like, "Hey, is this
Like, he's a smart person.
Exactly.
Audience. The other two are dinosaur experts.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, he brings his
Wait, so-
grandkids as the.
I never
kids.
picked up on that. Why is he important to the second movie then if he has nothing to do with
Because
dinosaurs?
Because he's
him to
been
go
there.
back. He's just in.
Oh,
he's
probably
dinosaurs.
he's probably the only one that accepted the offer
They will.
to go back to the island.
Yeah, from who made this Universal. Yeah, he's the only one who accepted the offer from Universal.
to come back.
He looked the sexiest in a half button shirt, so they're the year.
But this is the second movie. It's Spielberg.
Yeah, and it's. We'll get to that.
I looked it up because I was curious. He just didn't want to do the third one because he said it was such a hassle to do the first
Well,
two,
yep.
and he didn't feel like dealing with it.
They didn't do a good job with the second one. So
Yeah. But I was wondering though, would the third one have been better if it was Spielberg?
it probably. I don't think
Maybe
the
a
third
little
one needed
bit,
to exist.
But like the second one,
I
that
think-
The
goes-
second one did need to
So we can
exist.
kind of like want to just summarize them the whole time, right? But so like
Yeah.
the lunch scene, so they all get there. John Hammond's showing them around the facilities before they even see like the dinosaurs in the wild,
Mhm.
and then they eat like that fancy lunch in that weird room.
Yes.
That scene, I was like on the edge of my seat. I don't know why. Like I loved it. Where like
Were the projectors? That's it.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Malcolm's like that's where he says like,
But life finds a way.
Then it does.
and John Hammond's like, well, do you support this? And all three of them are like, absolutely not.
It's
This
just
is
fucking
absolutely fucking crazy.
It's stupid. Yeah. It's nuts.
I actually really like the scene where they're doing like the little theme park ride tour.
Like in the facility.
Yeah, and they're like 1, 2, 3, and they
They
push the
push
thing
it up
up
and just
yeah,
get
and
off.
just get off.
Yeah.
I like that scene a lot.
So then somebody else arrives on the island and meets with Wayne Knight, who I thought was pretty cool. Never
We
met
call him Newman.
Newman. Yes,
Just 'cause
never.
nobody knows that guy's Wayne Knight.
No, except for Steven Spielberg.
Yeah.
Because he was casted without auditioning. Spielberg saw him in Basic Instinct, and there's like this scene where he's sweating when basically a woman's like showing her like her vagina, basically, or like kind of
That
flirting.
is him.
So, and Spielberg thought he was great, so he wanted him for the credits to roll and wrote his name down when it came across. But he's like, I enjoyed that guy's sweating scene. I wonder if I can make him sweat. Like that's what Unspooled said. And I was
I
like,
think he
that's
was-
actually really funny.
I think he was perfect cast though.
He's
For,
awesome.
like, the
He's great. He's
But
a
so that's
dickhead.
another
He's such
thing
a
where
dickhead.
John Hammond is, but he's not a dickhead. Apparently, John Hammond's not paying that guy enough. So that's an easy fix of like just paying.
Easily help him out because he's the only guy running the IT. Which again, this is also you can
That
look
also
at
He's
it.
the only
makes no
guy
sense.
running the IT on a park where you need the best fucking.
Yes, he's
And
the
knowledge.
only guy in charge of security for the most important.
And they really do disguise John Hammond as the bad. Like he's the bad guy, but he's not this. He's kind of just.
But he's
disguised.
but he's also the grandfather. So
Yes.
It's like,
Like he's a disguised
he's
villain.
not that.
Where
He is.
yeah, so well, that's kind of like the plot. Then obviously chaos happens. I have a problem with why are these cars electric but not connected to these rails?
Yeah. How is that? working?
That pissed me off. I was like, this is fucking. That's such an easy little like movie making effect that you could just put a little piece of plastic that shows it.
Here's a cool little movie making effect that I actually thought was actually very interesting. You know how then they go to like the main building, it's still under construction. Like there's the scaffolding all over the place.
Yeah.
They did that on purpose so that they didn't have to build the set. Just to save money.
I like that a
It's
lot.
so
I like that a
funny,
lot.
That's pretty smart.
So they just made everything halfway built so that they didn't have to spend the money on it.
Which also kind of goes into one of the things with building, they kind of focus their money on the animatronics, which to this day still hold up. These dinosaurs hold up.
So
They
anything
look great.
Anything close is animatronic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anything full screen is CGI.
And rewatching it, there was only one scene that I thought looked shitty, which is when they first see the first dinosaur, the giant dinosaur.
Yeah.
I was like, this looks bad, but then all the other CG in the movie
See,
look good.
I think I texted you guys during that scene because I'm like, I remember the CGI for this being a lot better. But
It's
then like
not.
once the CGI
Maybe
came
at the
up,
time,
again, it was.
So,
But I think I was remembering the practical effects with the
Practical
animatronics.
effects look great.
Like every raptor is practical. Any scene with a raptor is my favorite scene from any of these
the
movies.
CGI is like the big story on that movies that made us. So,
I feel like it's barely used too because they did a lot of practical.
but it is a lot of practical. But there's a lot of like the T-Rex running is CGI. So there's a lot of stuff. So basically, the plan was anything close up was animatronics.
Mm-hmm.
Anything wide angle was going to be stop motion. And they had this guy who was like a stop motion expert, and he was going to do it all. And there's this guy who worked for this CGI company, and he was just like, I can do.
Stan Winston?
Sam Winston is the stop motion guy.
Okay.
So then after this guy goes, I can do the CGI. I can make this T-Rex CGI. And so he makes a T-Rex CGI, T-Rex walking on CGI, and then they ambushed Kathleen Kennedy. Like she was in a meeting for something else that they were going to be in, and they had just that on a monitor off on the side, not telling their bosses, not telling anybody they were going to do it. And she was like, what's that? I'm like, oh, it's just something that me and my partner have been working on.
That's
So then they get Spielberg to look at it. He's like, yeah, I want this. And then they have to put skin on it and do all this other shit. And it basically just ends stop motion animation entirely. Like that. 'Cause,
That's
think about it, after that,
Everything became computer.
there was all CGI
generated,
shit. And then it's all this other, the visual effects stuff. There's a really funny, they had the footage of it to get the animal, to get the motion. So, when there's the herd of dinosaurs running,
Mhm.
the animators would dress up in, the capture shit. So there's, this guy's running, fucking dinosaurs with their arms real tight and shit, and they're jumping over a log, and it was an animator. He trips on the log and falls and breaks his arm. And he, couldn't work on the rest. So then, after the CGI shit gets so, it turns out so good, Spielberg rewrites the end of the movie to bring the T-Rex back in when he fights the raptors. That wasn't the original ending.
Oh, really?
Because he wanted he's like, the T-Rex is the star of the show. We got to bring the T-Rex back.
That's awesome. I didn't know that. That's awesome.
So speaking of the animatronics, Disney legend, Imagineering legend Bob Gurr was actually originally looked at it being hired to do the animatronics for this, but they ended up going with the guy Bob was talking about. And this is one of the first movies to fully embrace green screen acting because Goldblum was actually asked on David Letterman about what it was like, and Letterman just really couldn't wrap his head around what it would be like to act in front of a green screen, which is now kind of just commonplace for Hollywood. So, yeah, one of the first.
So we kind of got into that and how we talked about the tour buses or the tour cars, and They do make. I was like, how are those even able to be unlocked? Like they should not. And then of course they make a comment like, I told you we should do that. Like how the fuck the workers like that? Those should never be allowed to be open.
Maybe it's seen as like an oversight because he's rushing to get the park opened.
Maybe they acknowledged it.
Yeah.
So that's what like made it like okay with me. I was like, okay.
Anytime that they they point out the shit where I'm like, this is dumb. Yeah, I'm alright with that.
Because I just see it as he's cutting corners because he wants the park to be open.
Things.
So he's not like following all the safety measures.
So-
Again, like any fucking billionaire would do.
Yeah, true. I mean, people do.
John Hammond's a kind of asshole and built himself a rocket ship to go to space, right?
Yes, and put dinosaurs on it for.
His would look like a T-Rex.
Yeah, exactly.
Dick, like,
And then one important aspect of the movie is the missing DNA, which I thought was a cool way that they summarized the kind of science of it
makes
all.
it seem possible.
Possible, and then like they summarized the science in that cute cartoon video,
Mm.
and I was like, this is cool. So the frog DNA actually plays into it because that's how
Shit.
they can.
Yeah, that was all part of that whole tour part. I love that scene from that movie.
Alan Grant says the West African frogs have been known to change sex in a single-sex environment, which is how those eggs happen. Which Malcolm is like, the life finds
He's
a
the
way,
one
and it
that
does.
gonna happen.
And it does.
Do they explain they do, but how do they explain the amino thing too? I think it's in the second movie where they were like amino deficient.
Oh yeah. So in the second
Yeah,
one, the herbivores eat the leaves, which produce
Okay.
the
And
amino.
then the carnivores eat the herbivores, and that's how they get it.
Yep,
Okay.
that's exactly what they say. And then, kind of get into the big moments of the movie, or anything else you guys want to talk about. Like, so when that T-Rex shows up, it is an hour into the movie. This movie, it doesn't. I feel like it doesn't let off the brakes. Like
It's 2 hours,
yes.
but I don't think it feels like 2
It
hours
moves
at all.
very quick. You are, as the score sets up, you're in wonder the entire time of this movie. That's the way I felt, anyway.
Yeah. It's like, what
Because-
are they going to do next?
Exactly.
Yeah. One of my
Look
favorites
how
is
amazing it looks.
the kitchen scene where Lex and Timmy are getting
Yeah,
like
with the
hunted
raptors.
by the raptors.
That's a fucking awesome
That
scene.
scene terrified me.
It's terrified me a week ago when I watched it.
I love when she's in the
In the thing with
and
the reflection.
With the
Yeah,
reflection,
yeah.
I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And I also don't know how Timmy doesn't die after he gets electrocuted and then just fucking
He gets
flies off.
enough voltage that's supposed to stun a T-Rex.
I know,
and he's
it's
just
just fine. There's like so many
I
instances
like
where he should have fucking died.
This is one of those scenes where I was like, fuck you, Steven Spielberg. Like, that's not how this
Yeah.
works. So he's in the truck in the tree.
Yes,
And
yes.
Dr. Grant goes
And he's
up
just
and
like,
gets
I
him.
puked.
Dr. Grant goes up and gets him out. And then the truck starts to move, and they gotta climb on the tree. And instead of the truck, like, going down the branches and
It's just-
pulling out the tree, it drives down the side of the tree, essentially. Like, that's not how trucks work.
Well, I fucking...
But I did like, and I'm not a big Timmy fan either, but I did like, they dive and the truck falls on top of them, but there's like the ceiling's not in it anymore, so they're just, and he goes, we're back in the truck.
Yeah.
We're out of the tree.
I like Timmy. I think he's
hate
what a
Timmy.
kid who's obsessed with dinosaurs, going to a dinosaur park. What do you expect him to be like?
I liked him at first, but then he just annoys the shit out
The
of me.
only thing I don't like is when he fucking falls off that cliff and he's just in the tree and in the car and he's just sitting there like fine. Like I would be like,
Well, the only reason they casted Lex is because she was really good at Scream. That was the
Yeah,
entire, and
check
she
that.
is.
yeah, the rest of her acting is whatever.
She's really good at reacting to fake dinosaurs also.
She would, yeah.
Like the scene when I think it's when the T-Rex first shows up, when it has the waters like moving in the cup,
In the cup.
and she stands up and it's like a close up of her face and she's like yelling at the dinosaur. It's a really good scene.
She's fucking dumb. She turns the light on.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot. Stupid kids. The plot. You know
She's
what I mean?
that T-Rex. There's another one of these things that I got from this movie, this TV show. That was animatronics, but it couldn't get wet.
And it's in the rain
that
scene.
scene is like, so they have like the water in front of it, but obviously it's gonna get wet. Like it gets wet. So then they're like, then the T-Rex would just be going fucking bananas. And you had to like be away from it because it like cost all this money and they like wouldn't be able to control it because it was just like whipping itself around.
Turns into Westworld. She like really starts attacking everybody.
Crichton wrote Westworld too.
Yeah,
so.
there's one thing with this dinosaur. You can't get it wet. Great, let's put it in a rainy scene.
And you can't feed it after midnight.
Yeah.
Filming for the first movie all took place on Hawaii,
Mm-hmm.
and they got hit with a hurricane. That's like the big story is that so then they can't get off the island. They're like stuck on the island in this hurricane. And so Kathleen Kennedy's like, we gotta get these people off the island because we want, like, after the hurricane comes and goes, she's like, we got to get these people off the island because we got to keep getting work done. There's no power here, like, wanting to make money and do it as efficiently as possible. So the only person that they could find that could get them off the island that was a pilot happened to be in Hawaii is the guy who picks up
Indiana Jones?
Indiana Jones. There's a Lost Ark.
That's
The guy
actually
who
awesome.
flies that plane is a real pilot.
The little pontoon when the tribe is chasing
And
him.
he flew them all off.
That's
Hawaii.
cool.
Yeah,
How about that? I didn't know that. That's actually really interesting. But you can go and do a tour of Hawaii. They still have some of the
They
film
fly
sets
you.
there. Guys, because somebody I worked with just went and they did the
No, they
Jurassic
don't
tour.
fly. Yeah,
you go
so-
on a ATV?
Yeah, the guy I work with did it too, and he said like the one part's private property, like you can't go on.
Oh,
it,
really?
But they'll be like, that's. I think they were on like a bus or something, like, in a car or whatever, and they're like, that back there is where Jurassic Park, like the actual park, was located, and they just play this song, and we can't go there, but here you go.
That's funny. All right, so let's kind of get into the classic scenes. What we love, what you didn't like. What's one thing about this rewatch that really stood out for you? What's a plot point there? Like, this is fucking dumb, or I need to revisit that. Let's kind of dive in. We set up the story. We set up the cool facts around the movie. What's one thing that you really enjoyed about rewatching this film? I'll go first. So I haven't watched this movie since Jurassic World 2 came out because I revisited them all in time, and that's what we're doing now. But one of the things I just really enjoyed revisiting was a lot of it was this huge blockbuster movie. Spielberg, I think, at his best, but all the practical effects and just the wonder of, like, I was transported for 2 hours. And I was on that island. I was not scared because I've seen the movie a bunch of times, but nervous.
Never afraid. Nervous.
I got to watch it with Audrey, who hadn't seen the full thing through, which was interesting. She really liked it, and just kind of still being impressed with how the movie holds up all these years later. And it is definitely one of the best films of all time. Definitely in the 100 list. I don't know where you want to put that, but that's one thing I really enjoyed. And Jeff Goldblum, he was fucking awesome in this movie. He for the little
I
bit
like
that
him
he's
more
in.
in 2, actually. You could probably, because there's so little else supporting him in 2.
Yeah.
That like he stands out even more. I love him in this one, but like 2, I was like, if Goldblum's not in this movie, I'm turning it off.
Interesting.
IMDb has it listed, like, from people rating it as number 151 all time.
Okay, I think it's on the top.
I think it is
AFI.
AFI top 100.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
I mean, 151, I would put it way higher than that, but that's just based off of, like,
yeah, I was
like
gonna say
user rating.
AFI factors in like what that movie did for cinema, stuff like that.
Stuff like
so
that,
this would move up because of the CGI and all the.
It's a really, really well made movie.
That does. I don't know what Sammy J or whatever the fuck her name was thinks, or his name. I don't know who that.
Yeah, fuck Sammy
what
J.
they think.
Whoever they are.
It does hold up well.
Oh, it holds up so well. Like I said, I watched this movie, and like when we go back and watch Star Wars, even with the remasters, and like the CGI looks bad and it's distracting. Like this is, I'm not distracted at all. It's like fucking one scene.
Yeah.
That looks bad, and that's it.
Well, I really like, I mentioned already, just the Raptors. I think the Raptors look incredible.
Well, that's why the Raptors are in all 3 movies.
Yeah,
too.
and that's why
they
just
always
the
are cool.
Raptors, especially in 3, like, they really got it down. The scene where they're all, like, we'll talk about it, where they're all, like, being hunted at the end, and she, like, gives them the eggs.
Yeah.
The Raptors look so real.
Yeah, that's great.
And they're like
that's the
individual. Like
benefit.
the one has like the little spikes,
Yeah.
like they each
Yeah.
have they're, like a little bit more. I think they
That's
look
the-
better in that than they do in Jurassic World. But I
'Cause
haven't watched
practical-
Jurassic World in a while.
Because Jurassic World's probably CGI, right?
It's all
completely
CGI. More
Yeah,
practical
I like,
really holds
I like
up.
animatronic better. It looks amazing.
I mean, it's the same thing with like the new Star Wars movies, where they actually stayed to the practical for some things. It looks great.
Yeah.
However, the Raptors in this one know how to open doors, but that's it. That idea goes away.
pretty sick.
And I did like that.
That would seem played out like a horror movie where they're in the
Yeah.
kitchen
Yeah,
and
dude,
it's
it's
like it's
awesome.
like pawing at the door and then it just
Well, these animals are incredibly smart, as we learned. They know how to talk.
yeah. Since we're talking about the Raptors, I'm just gonna put it on Raptor real quick.
Give it a rip. You gotta earn it. You can't go against the wheel. T-Rex.
Thanks for hearing.
Rawr!
Christ.
Oh man, guys, don't worry.
If we don't get a raptor by the end, I'm
Oh,
quitting.
yeah,
I'm quitting.
just keep spinning.
I'm quitting this.
Don't worry, there's not a dinosaur in the studio. That was just me.
That was just
That was
fine.
Dr. Malcolm.
We're all okay.
Yeah. Oh, I know.
Oh my God, it's loose.
I know that was lifelike.
So I think we
Oh,
need to.
That's what I wanted to point out too. I really like the way they went about the dinosaurs being out. Like they don't just be like, oh, the dinosaurs they just break out. It's like no, like someone designs it to be that way.
That's what I was actually just gonna say. So it's his master plan to get rich.
Yeah.
But also
It's kind of like he's creating a distraction so he can escape with all the specimens.
his death is my favorite scene in this movie. I really
Yeah,
think.
he is a really good.
Because he's such like he just talks down to the dinosaur. He's just like go fetch.
Yeah.
Go fetch.
Yeah.
Well, that's
You
the
idiot.
thing. In every movie,
Yeah.
all of these,
You disrespect
you
the dinosaur.
disrespect the dinosaur, you die.
You die. And he dies like
Standard procedure.
they're like that the venomous venom.
You just text me. That was impressive.
Yeah, you're all right, Katie. There's no dinosaur. So I wrote for the second movie. I wrote no respect for the proper dinosaur names because when the InGen guys come to the island,
Yeah, yeah,
they
they're
just
just
call
like
them
they're
whatever.
throwing
You're like,
the-
yeah, Elvis, because the guy he's got like the bump on his head. Elvis Presley. And I wrote no respect for the proper dinosaur names. Must be bad guys.
But I think my favorite scene, obviously, I think when they reveal all the dinosaurs with the theme, that's awesome. But I think Wayne Knight's death is probably my favorite.
I said mine already. It's the
The
when they're
T-Rex.
getting hunted in the kitchens.
Yep.
Mine might be the T-Rex, but that's like a long scene, so I don't know what part of that it would be.
Oh, they just the
Just
whole
like the tremor.
trepidation.
The
Yeah,
tremor.
Yeah,
Like,
like,
like
that
that.
scene's
Like,
cool.
it's a great scene.
Which they do that in the second. Did they do it in the third too? That like bit.
It starts with that bit in the third.
It does. Yeah.
so
you're
Jurassic Park logo.
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
the
Okay, so
third
that's a
is
running-
like
that's a running-
rumble.
right. That's a running bit. Then.
Yeah.
Because in the
this-
second, I think isn't a footprint in the
footprint.
ground that has like a puddle in
Yes.
it, and that's what's.
Well, that
Fun fact: in the second one, the T-Rex shows up at basically the same minute mark in the movie.
That's
cool.
At the hour minute mark.
cool.
So that's our favorites. This one I actually don't have any.
I don't
least
have
favorite.
a lot of hate.
No,
Yeah,
I have no
no-
hate for this
no
movie.
gripes.
Like anything that I disliked, I didn't dislike because it was bad. I disliked it because I'm like, fuck you, John Hammond. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, but that you want that from a villain or from like a bad guy.
And that's definitely something
that means
like.
that they're doing a good job. If I'm getting that angry,
I'd like to submit Crumbone of the Week, John Hammond.
nephew,
nephew,
cousin, whatever he is,
piece of
that
shit.
takes over InGen and goes to the island and wants to make the park in San Diego.
So-
that guy, he's the bad guy.
Yeah, that
too.
guy sucks.
He might be Crumbone of the Week.
Yeah.
So it wasn't in. I think probably the last time I watched it, I picked up on it. But really, this time I was like, okay, John Hammond's obviously the big guy. Dinosaurs are actually.
But I
not
like
the-
John Hammond. Like it's like a Thanos type bad guy. But John Hammond doesn't realize
What he's
that
doing.
he's a bad guy.
They try to redeem him too. Because I actually
They
wrote
don't,
down.
though.
He wants
I
to
wrote
save
down-
the dinosaurs.
but he calls
That's
it the accident.
Yeah.
And so like they don't try to redeem.
So
him.
it is like he's not taking responsibility, but his stance is like,
And he says like
stop going to the island, leave them alone.
he says a little girl got hurt.
Yes. Yeah, a little girl fucking
He
died.
goes out. There was an incident with a little girl. She's fine. She was dead. So like he wants
He wants these.
he
teams-
wants his dinosaurs to stay alive. All he cares about is his dinosaurs. He doesn't want the money anymore.
I take it back. He's
He's
Crumbone.
still,
Crumbone.
he's still, yeah, but I don't, because you like make him not as much the villain,
Mhm.
but in the process, because then after that, I think at the end of the movie they're interviewing, and he is so. I wrote legitimately, John Hammond. This is my last note for Jurassic Park 2. John Hammond is a silver-tongued motherfucker. Is my exact note because they interview him on TV, and even they're interviewing like after a T-Rex just destroyed San Diego, and I'm like, yeah, I think this maybe I will support this guy because it's just how he says stuff.
Yeah, so I think when did you guys first see this movie? Like, do you guys remember how old
I was
you
like
were?
6, I think.
Yeah,
I was
young.
3.
It came out what 93?
Yeah.
I was definitely a kid.
So I was 3 when
remember
it came
how
out,
young.
and I want to say we somebody rented it.
One of the
Yeah, it was probably a blockbuster rental.
Yeah.
one of the first times I actually remember watching it was the black VHS tape, the black cover, like the slip cover,
Yeah.
down the shore at Pat's shore house with Pat with him and my sister on like a
Rated or
small
something?
TV in the front where the parents were in the back. That's one of like the first times I remember watching this.
I easily could have seen it earlier than that. Like the first time I really remember, like I remember vividly, like that I was definitely watching it. That's probably like 6 or 7. That was when we were at my somebody's house.
Did you guys ever have a dinosaur face? Like, did this
That's
movie?
where the pterodactyl thing. Well, I said
Yeah.
I could spell pterodactyl perfectly. We talked about it. You're either like a car kid or a dinosaur kid. And I was a dinosaur.
I was both.
I wasn't.
I was both too.
I don't think I was ever a dinosaur.
It was more dinosaurs.
I mean,
I was
I definitely
bigger
had
dinosaurs. We had Hot Wheels.
Matchbox
Like, I
cars
didn't
and
care
what-
about like,
Hot Wheels.
cars.
I know I had a couple dinosaur toys, but I also had the dinosaur from Happy Meal giveaway from Dinosaur, or was the hand puppet. You remember that
Yeah.
Disney movie? I had one of
Well,
those.
I didn't see Dinosaur when that movie came out, but I went on the ride.
The ride is terrifying.
I was so afraid when I
Yeah.
first went on that in Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, so speaking of kind of theme parks, we're watching this movie, and Archie goes, "It's weird they haven't made a Jurassic Park theme park." And I'm like, "Archie, are you fucking serious? We were just in Universal. Like, we just rode the Velocicoaster." She said,
Do they have
"Oh,
like?
so
They had
this
the log
is-
flume too, right?
Yeah, I
Do they
get
have-
soaked. I refuse to ride it.
Oh, really?
Does Universal have some kind of like?
The first time I went, it was with my parents. We went for a couple days, and it was August. It was super fucking hot. And we go like, "Oh, do you get wet on this ride?" Of the Jurassic Park. The
There's
main
like a log
ride.
flume. It's
It's
like
like
a main
you
ride.
take it through. There's cool.
It's a cool
animatronic.
thing. Yeah.
It's
And
cool.
then like as you're getting to the top of the hill, like
a giant
the
T-Rex.
giant T-Rex comes down, and then you dip down into like the.
So the guy, we go, "Do you get wet?" And the guy's like, "Not really. We got fucking drenched."
Where were you sitting?
We were in the middle, like on the end.
They were in the
And
road that said splash.
The thing, everybody got soaked. So it's humid. So basically, I had just like my
Everything's
my
wet.
pants.
Yeah.
I could deal with a shirt. In that Florida heat, you're
It's
fucking
a chafing
balls
from
out.
like walking in. Like,
That's the
And I
worst.
wasn't even wearing basketball. I was wearing cargos in like 95
That's the worst
degrees.
when you have to walk around the rest of the day with your shirt like sticking to you and shit.
It's awful, and like it was so hot and humid that even if you dries you off,
dry you.
like you're just nothing's going to change because it's so hot and humid. But yeah, so this movie also inspired theme park rides in Florida and Hollywood, and then now in Big
You know what
City.
they should make? They should make a theme park where like they have dinosaurs.
I was going to say, I've never been to Universal.
Yeah.
Do they
Yeah,
have something where like you're in the Jeep and you're driving around and
No.
they have like the animatronic?
No, but
Why?
they have the animatronics where like you'll stand next to them and they like pop out
Yeah,
the bushes
so-
behind you.
Okay, but there's
But
nothing
then
like
the log flume is that.
like you know how
Before you go up, it's like one of those things where like you ride it for a while and then it becomes a log flume.
And you
So
go
like
inside.
it's like a tour in the water.
Okay.
That it's what you're
because
asking
like
for. It's
like
not
how
a Jeep.
like how Six Flags has a safari thing.
Mhm.
Universal should have like you're in the Jurassic Park Jeep
It's that. It's
and you're
just not-
driving around all the animatronics. That'd be cool.
Well, now you're in the boat and you're
Yeah, it's
around
the
it.
exact same thing. They come
Okay.
out of the trees.
And then you-
There's something talking. You go in.
And then like you start to see what's.
The ride starts to break. Like the park starts to break down.
You
At the
see,
end,
like-
the gates open that shouldn't be open.
Okay.
Yeah, you'll see like I think you go like one way when you're supposed to go the other, and then there's like it looks like a hole, and then the cages are out and stuff. It's a good ride. You just get fucking soaked, and I hate being wet.
I want to go back to that idea that you're fucking soaked at the end of the day.
So, but now even
But
with
what
the
if you did-
Velocicoaster,
What if you waited until the end of the day to do that?
Yeah,
It doesn't matter if you're soaked because you're going home anyway.
yeah, you
we
could.
did it. The last time I was in Universal was when I was 17, so 15 years ago. I was with my high school, and we went to Universal,
That's cool. That's a cool trip.
and we got there at like 9 a.m. I don't know what time the park opened, but like we got there like as the park opened.
Is that the first thing you did?
Oh, we rode everything. Like at all the major rides in Islands of Adventure, we rode. But this is before Harry Potter.
Yeah.
There weren't as many roller coasters. So we did, that was the first ride I think we went on. And it wasn't, I don't remember it being like, I was so miserable, but also at 17, I probably wouldn't care.
I was young when I rode that. I was a freshman of high school. But you also went down and had a full boat. Like if you were that early. So the
it's
splash
not
might
going to
have
be
been that.
not as much.
It's always a risk. Like it depends what time you go. They lower the water levels you went during the summer season, so they're a little bit higher. The whole thing. It's a cool ride. Now it's upgraded in Hollywood for Jurassic World, which is it's more screens in it, which is whatever. But I prefer the old animatronics.
Yeah.
So there is actually a theme park spawned out from this series as well. Anything to discuss
Let's
about
talk
the
too.
first?
Let's
Yeah,
talk
that's
too.
what I've done, right?
Let's gripe about too.
All right, so here we go. So Jurassic, so the Lost
The first
World.
7-hour dinosaur movie.
The movie's called The Lost World, Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
So, The Lost World Jurassic Park opened on May 23rd, 1997, with a budget of $73 million. It opened to a $72.1 million opening, with the first film to pass $70 million on opening weekend, and the first film to open to $21.6 million on Friday and $24.4 million on Saturday. Worldwide final is
$1.6 million. It's the second highest of 1997, just behind the Titanic. Critically, it's 53% on Rotten Tomatoes and audience score of 51%. So right in line, just like the first one, of critic and audience. So we also talked about the marketing budget for the first film. So Universal spent a staggering $250 million on the marketing campaign for this film.
What was
Why,
the
though?
budget for
Wasn't-
this?
73 million.
Which is that's crazy considering the first one was.
But
60.
wasn't
I
the-
guess there's a lot of actors in this, but I'm like, you
Also-
don't really have Goldblum
You talk about like inflation. And
Wasn't the
4
first
years
movie
later,
like a hit though? Why would they need to market that?
because
Well,
they knew
because
what
now
they wanted
they
to
had-
get.
all different deals. So this included
Burger King, Mercedes-Benz, Timberland.
They probably had a close up of it once, and
Like,
that cost.
like-
Sam Neill kicks a raptor in the face in the first movie. Wouldn't that be what
But
Timberland
Thor-
wants to be?
But
He kicks a pterodactyl in the third movie too.
You know,
The
He loves kicking dinosaurs in the face.
the Mercedes is like in your face.
And General Mills for a Jurassic Park Crunch cereal.
The Mercedes
Park
is the
Crunch.
cool truck where the seat comes out the side, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it?
I think that was a Mercedes.
Because the Mercedes are the ones that like the good guys are driving. Like that definitely
Ah,
is
yeah,
the
you're
label,
right.
and then maybe the trucks might.
So after the success of the first movie and novel, Michael Crichton was pressured by fans for a sequel. He had never wrote one before and refused to write one for this one. However, while filming, Spielberg mentioned that if a sequel were to be made, it would involve the retrieval of the canister that contained the dino DNA lost when Wayne Knight died.
Which makes sense of why they kind of
Back to the
focused,
park.
which they kind of focused on in the first one after Wayne Knight dies,
Mhm.
that getting covered in mud.
Yeah.
And I was like, why did they? And after I read this, I was like, that kind of makes sense. Spielberg wanted to.
He set it up. so
Do
he could
that.
do it again.
So a sequel to the movie was dependent on if Crichton would write a sequel or not. So in the spring of 1995, he finished his sequel and pre-production started right away.
Did he write the second book?
He wrote the book.
Or is it just a script?
No, it's a book.
Okay.
Called The Lost World. And so the pre-production started right away.
So the sequel has no reference to the lost DNA canister that Spielberg mentions, and he was not involved in the screenplay either. Kathleen Kennedy notes, in the same way Michael doesn't see writing as a collaboration, Steven went off and did his own movie. So Crichton handed him the book, and that was it. No more collaboration. So with their relationship ended, it didn't have that same collaboration they did on the first film, and that could have affected it. But Spielberg thought that the middle portion of his book was lacking in narrative, but that the setup was excellent. It was Spielberg who thought the conflict should be about gatherers, which are the observers, versus the hunters. Like the first is carnivores versus herbivores, which I actually didn't interpret the movie like that. But so they ditched most of the plot of the second book, except for the idea of the second island populated with dinos and the scene where the trailer dangles off the cliff. The novel also included two children again, but David Cope, who wrote the screenplay, combined them into one kid, and it was Malcolm's daughter, Kelly.
The scene with the trailer when the T-Rex is like pushing it off the cliff.
Yeah,
that's
like
actually from his book.
Yeah, like the 20-minute scene.
That's my
Yeah.
favorite scene from the movie.
It's a good scene.
I like that one a lot.
Which scene?
The scene where
I'm
the
looking up these books. 'Cause I have
the
to-
T-Rex is pissed at them because they have the baby T-Rex and
Yeah.
they're trying to help it, and it's like trying to push it
Oh,
off
yeah,
the cliff,
tries to push
and
it.
they're all like falling down, and she's like on the glass,
She's on the
glass is cracking.
glass is breaking.
That's like my favorite scene.
That scene is the one scene from this movie where I was like, I mean, it's not the one scene, but one of the scenes from this movie where I was like, wait, what the fuck? Because T-Rex comes and attacks them, and then the guy, he's from the West Wing, but I don't know what else he's from. The guy who gets eventually
Talking about
eaten by
Eddie?
T-Rex.
Eddie.
Yeah. He is like, all right, they're going back, they're going away, and now they cut back. They're in the trailer, like the truck, or whatever you want to call it, and out of nowhere, Dr. Malcolm is just like, there's trouble or whatever. Like there's no tremor in the water. I went back and rewound.
Oh, really?
Maybe
There was nothing to like signal that
maybe they're implying he hears it or
I
something,
don't
and maybe
know.
he hears it
Yeah,
running up
but,
on
like,
him.
he just reacts.
Mhm.
I was with the people at work. We were all three of us were watching it. Guy that I work with was like, "Did they say anything?" And I
Yeah, I don't
was like, was there a
remember that.
tremor? And I rewound. I didn't think anything.
Maybe
of it.
you're supposed to think like, oh, he feels it, like
Ian Malcolm.
because he should
Ian
know.
Malcolm was one with the T-Rex because it bit the shit out of his leg.
He should know what a T-Rex
They
supposed
didn't
to
really
feel
bite
like
him,
at this
though.
point, right?
Maybe-
Maybe his leg
maybe
It's
he just
like
felt like
arthritis.
yeah, like when a dino's
When it
around,
rains,
it starts
tightens up.
pain. Just
How did he?
He's like an old sea captain.
he's found underneath.
This is just his under stuff.
He's just
right?
he's under the debris of the toilet that
Yeah.
gets destroyed. Before we kind of get into it, quick overview. The movie starts off with the scene of the book where the girl dies, on the
Which
the
this
second
movie-
island Hoo-Ha. Right?
This is Hula.
This
A
is
lot
Hula.
of death. This is his Lasorna.
Yeah.
A lot of death in this movie. Steven Spielberg definitely keeping it clean where like people die and the water turns red.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
3 times.
actually really like.
So do I. But you can it saves your rating too.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
want to see it's not gruesome.
They definitely got more violent with this one. So the plot of the movie, and we kind of talked about it briefly, is that John Hammond wants to send people back to save the dinosaurs or observe them so they're in their natural habitat because these dinosaurs, as Ian Malcolm said in the first one,
Life finds a way.
And what is
They're
the
thriving.
plan? Why does he want them observed?
I don't really know, but this was never said in the first one that this is where they took them to be developed.
This is where they made them.
Yeah, like this is where they
John
and then they
Hammond-
bring
And then
it to the park.
the park was the showcase.
Yeah,
This was like the dinosaur island. The
Yes.
park was just like, hey,
Is John Hammond maybe full of shit?
100%.
Maybe he's behind the scenes of
Well, he
starting
signs-
San Diego.
well, he signs
signs
over-
in Jen away.
he signs a jet away.
Because he has to, because Peter Ludlow's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
Maybe he has
huge
some kind
piece
of
shit.
back alley deal where he's going to be like behind the scenes helping the San Diego Zoo. Look,
I just need to interrupt.
and
you
maybe
right
he's
now.
just full of shit.
This rich motherfucker, he's so rich, and he has the most outlandish eyebrows. If he can have someone to fucking cut his eyebrows, that shit bothers me so
But-
much.
He does have the dopest cane of all
He
time.
does
a
have
sick
a
cane.
It is a sick cane with the DNA,
amber.
Mosquito.
the amber.
It's pretty cool.
So that's basically the plot. And Ian Malcolm goes.
Which is bullshit.
It's-
But this is a more reasonable reason to go back, though. So Ian Malcolm writes a book. Everybody calls him a quack. Everybody says it's not real what happened on Jurassic Park. And nobody
Respect.
believes him. Peter Ludlow, apparently sues him. There's a non-disclosure that he breached all this stuff.
Wait, do people not believe Alan
That the
Grant too? Because they both wrote books.
Well, no, it was because apparently in this movie, because Grant's not in this movie.
Mhm.
In this movie, Ian Malcolm was the only one who would come out about the island because there was a non-disclosure.
But in
So
the
they were saying that they sued him. So probably after San Diego,
okay, because in the third
Sam
movie,
Neill,
Yeah.
Alan Grant probably writes a book.
in the third movie, Eric goes, "I read both your books. I liked the one better before you went to the island."
Yeah,
So
and
he
then
wrote two
when
books.
he gives the lecture in the third movie,
Uh-huh.
he said,
Any
anybody
questions?
has questions not about Jurassic Park,
Yeah,
not
okay.
about the
So
San
you
Diego
think
that I
he
was
wrote
not
his
at.
after Malcolm?
Probably. Because
Okay.
then they say he's in all these lawsuits.
Well, after he said it, the one I was not at, he looked at the camera.
Spike the
Just
camera.
spike the camera.
Really
You
hard.
just, I'm a slut for continuity, so I just like to.
Yeah, man, how did they breathe on Titan?
um,
But
so he goes. Ian Malcolm goes back to the
Hold
island.
for Titan. That's good spin.
Come on, Raptor.
I can't do another T-Rex,
T-Rex
can I?
again.
Shane, you tried T-Rex.
This is your bit, pal.
I think you should try one. RP, would you like to give a T-Rex a go? He put his arms out. You know what I want to see so bad? And every time, I realize watching these movies, even though that the second and the third one are not really that good. As a 32-year-old man, still just love dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're awesome.
I just got a text. Oh wow, that was a good one. My neighbors are so spooked that there might be a T-Rex walking around the apartment complex
They're
right
like
now.
that. They thought there was one, but then they're like, oh, I think it went away. And all I want to see in life,
I want a practical dinosaur.
I want a T-Rex to trip though.
Didn't you?
Because
like
they
that?
can't
Because
catch
get back up,
themselves.
Yeah.
No, like
He just smacks his dome.
They just face plant if they trip. I need to see that.
But haven't you learned anything from these movies? Is you don't bring them back.
I don't know. We'll see what happens with Dominion. It sounds like they're taking over the world.
Yeah, I don't know. Just kind of keyed
can
off
we-
the end of this movie.
Can we touch on the trailer scene again? Because that's what I think has the most fucked
The
up.
trailer that his
The-
daughter sneaks into,
His
and
daughter-
she says, "Hey, we're not leaving for another 3 hours," and he didn't take the check. Like, hey, where did my
He
daughter
also
go?
was taking it. He's like, yeah, you're staying with random female number
Number
6. And then that's what I was saying when I was watching. I'm like, he didn't confirm that she got to
I said
that place?
you didn't see her off.
Yeah, she's
like
like
so many.
7 years old.
You know what? This movie sucks.
She is a great gymnast, though.
She is. Yes, dude. I fucking hate that scene.
Hate it.
So
I hate her.
So
I hate everything
But,
about her.
let's
talking
talk
about
your
the trailer scene, because I'm going to lead into that. The most undeserved death. Eddie
the guy.
Eddie gets no.
saves all of them, immediately gets ripped in half by
I
two
know.
T-Rex.
And Jeff Goldblum says, "Hey, he saved us." But I'm like, yeah.
Nobody cares.
No.
Nobody gives a shit.
Jeff Goldblum makes a joke. He goes, "They cut you from the team? Dickhead, this guy just saved your life and died. You're making a fucking
Nah,
joke."
well, he's dead long before she does her. That was the Raptors.
That's the next scene. But,
gets
like,
her out.
nobody gives a shit about Eddie.
Nick Van Allen, not a huge fan.
Vince Vaughn. He's okay.
Really? I liked him in this movie.
He causes more problems than
Yeah,
he's
but
on
I-
Greenpeace for the chicks. Well, why are you still being so Greenpeace on this island? Are you trying to
I agree with him,
dinosaur?
though. I
Trying
agree with
to
him,
fuck
though.
Julianne Moore.
He's there just to photograph everybody. The people that are there that are, like, big game hunting, they just want to kill the dinosaur.
Yeah, I get
He's
it.
like, fuck you. I like that. I
But
really like the scene where...
he's creating more conflict by like trying to fuck them up as opposed to just getting the fuck off the island.
Agree. But also, I really like the scene... No, agree. Because the one scene, the bald guy, I forget his name, he's, like, gonna put one of
The
the...
hunter.
Yeah,
what is
the
he about to
hunter.
put? He's about to put one of the dinosaurs down. Is it a T-Rex?
No,
He
it's a baby T. It's the baby T-Rex.
No. He's got the shotgun.
He's got the shotgun and
at
there's
one
no
of the
bullet in
dinosaurs, and because Vince Vaughn put the fake,
Yes.
he put the
he put the empty shells of
Yeah, it
blanks
might
in
be
there.
the T-Rex.
So he probably put people in danger.
He
because
absolutely
he was
did.
about to put that dinosaur
I
down.
mean, that guy's
But
a complete scumbag.
I
too.
still think that scene is funny.
And also, I stand by the fact that you agreed, but also stood by your own point, because that very rarely happens on the show.
Yeah, I know. I
And
like
yeah,
it.
I agree with you.
Shane very strongly feels
Vince-
about Jurassic Park.
Vince
and I
Vaughn
like
is
that.
just causing more problems.
He is.
But I
don't dislike
because
him.
I also don't like the big game hunter.
I
guys,
just want
and
more.
Vince Vaughn is fucking with them.
I want more Vince Vaughn.
Skinny Vince Vaughn. This was before he had like a
right
personality.
before, like Swingers.
Before you know.
Is he Swingers?
Yeah,
Is that
he's
him?
swears.
Him and John Favreau.
I'm happy.
So this is where
John Happy.
Johnny Depp.
I'm gonna take my stance on this movie. I think 3 is better than 2.
I agree.
Strictly for 2 reasons. Well, there's another one that I appreciate the runtime of 3 a lot after having to watch 2.
Yes.
Julianne Moore is annoying as fuck, and I don't
In
think
this movie?
in
or
this
in
movie. No,
general?
I like her.
Okay, I didn't know if she was just like I don't like certain people. I didn't know if she was
And
like, I hate her.
it's
as
funny
an
that you
actress.
say about Goldblum. I love Goldblum, not a leading man.
No,
and I
absolutely
think
not.
that this movie lacks from. It's weird because he's probably a better actor than Sam Neill, but I feel like Sam Neill and Laura Dern do a really good job. I think they're a good pair. Where Goldblum's good. I think Goldblum's best in doses.
He's good in one because he's not the main guy.
He does what Goldblum does. He's a
But
number 2 or 3.
my thing with this is that like this movie was so bad and I just genuinely didn't enjoy it. So like all the little
You
one-liners that he
appreciate
had,
it?
I was like, all right, at least I know. Like whenever something happened, I'd be like, what are you gonna say, Jeff?
Yeah,
Like give me something, Jeff.
I enjoy it, but I just feel like that is why the movie is like 2 minutes longer than the first
Yeah.
one, but feels like it's 6
I
hours
know,
long.
and I don't because
It took me 3 sittings to
I
finish
think
it.
we watched it on Friday in 2 sittings. There was like 25 minutes left, and they hadn't got the same.
I know the movie could have ended when they left the island.
And I would have loved if they had done
Well,
45 minutes on the island and 45 minutes in San Diego.
For a crisp hour and a half.
Everything in San Diego I liked.
yeah,
I like all the spots. I like the weird prop bits, like when they're at the gas station and the thing just goes rolling by, because it feels like you're watching a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
The straight up Godzilla like callback when the Asian people are running away from the dinosaur turned around, where it's just a straight shot.
I noticed
of the
that too.
Godzilla.
I noticed that too.
I like that.
Like, and then the one-liners when they're in San Diego are actually genuinely solid.
So the reason why they did the San Diego scene is Spielberg said it's too fun, like not to, we have to. But the real reason was it's because he was actually saving that for the 3rd one, and he was like, I don't want to do a 3rd one, so I'm using it now. So it was originally
So the third one was
supposed to
probably going to be like a full movie where they're in.
be- probably, but it's just
So the third one was going to be what Jurassic World Dominion is going to be essentially.
yeah, I guess because it kind of makes sense. The movie could have ended when they left the island, like that could have been the end. and whatnot. But it makes sense because Spielberg was not going to be returning because he was just kind of drained. He said, I beat myself up, growing more and more impatient with myself. It made me wistful about doing a talking picture because sometimes I get the feeling I was just making the big silent war movie. I found myself saying, is that all there is? It's not enough for me. So he regretted that the film characters are aware they're going to an island of dinosaurs, unlike the previous film. And Spielberg later said that he knows a major reason why his sequels tend to not live up to the quality of his original films is my sequels aren't as good as my originals because I go on to every sequel I've made and I'm too confident. The movie makes $1 gazillion, which justifies the sequel, so I come in like it's going to be a slam dunk, and I wind up making an inferior movie to the one before. I'm talking about The Lost World and Jurassic Park. So he's aware of the movie was financially a success, but critically
Well,
not.
I mean,
and that's
I
why.
never really thought about that, but look at Spielberg's sequels.
I mean, what?
I
What's another
we said
sequel?
Temple of Doom. We said was
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Temple of Doom's bad.
Jaws 2.
Yeah,
I
Jaws
don't know
2.
if he directed Jaws 2. I'm assuming he did.
I think he did. What else did he do? In terms of sequels, if there's no sequel to E.T., there was going to be one. I think it was going to be terrible.
It's going to be one.
At the Green Planet, or E.T. goes back to the Green Planet.
Schindler's List 2. Electric Boogaloo.
Hugo 2.
Forgot about Hugo.
Hook 2. Which Hook 2 probably would have been the one that made sense. Sorry for that raptor, folks, but or T-Rex. But
Dinosaur for sure.
Dinosaur for sure. But Spielberg, yeah, that was just him kind of addressing that he was drained at the end of filming this and why his sequels don't always live up to the hype. And they didn't work with Crichton at all on this film. They kind of told him to go kick rocks, and maybe that's why this movie's not as good.
I don't know how to say his name either.
Michael Crichton?
It's Crichton.
That's what I'm just going.
Crichton.
Crichton. I just freewhale it here and
Cretan.
then.
Michael Cretan.
He's a
It's
Cretan.
Cretan now.
He's a creature.
Michael Cretan.
And
once we had to deal with the dinosaur technical difficulties, Steven Spielberg did not direct Jaws 2, so it is not one of the sequels.
Okay.
So, just to
So he
fact
gets a pass on that one.
yeah, so really the only sequel that's other than Jurassic or Lost World is Temple of Doom.
So yeah, so he doesn't. That's kind of a weird thing for him to say about his sequels, then.
Which some of our listeners who often or also happen to be married to the host of this podcast would say Temple of the Doom
is a good
is
movie.
the best Indiana Jones. Of course, they would be wrong.
Guys.
One idiot that we all know would think.
Look,
Yes.
we all know her tastes are not so good. Look at who she married. Okay, she doesn't have the best taste. She's got a good heart. Unlike Ian Malcolm, who makes I think a cheeseburger joke in this second movie. There's a bad cheeseburger joke in this movie, and I don't remember it.
I don't remember this specifically. He makes a lot of bad.
It's all
jokes,
one-liners.
though.
That's why I said that's the only thing I liked him for that because I knew they were coming. So I'd be like, this scene, I hate this scene. I hate everything that's happening here. I don't like this movie a lot.
I just felt
and
like-
then he'd make a bad one-liner, and I'd be like, all right.
I just feel like they came at I liked his one-liners.
They're
I
all
felt like
the-
they came
they're
at
all
the wrong time.
They're on an island getting killed by dinosaurs.
Yeah. So the
I'm
It's
just
all the bad times.
I'm just super butthurt about Eddie
Eddie gets.
because he saves he really busts his ass to save all of them.
Can we
he
talk
does
about?
push the pedal to the metal in his Mercedes Benz.
Can we talk about the climate in this island off the coast of Costa Rica?
Just always raining.
It's always raining. Why is
Yeah.
it always raining?
Why would you build a theme park there? It's like why would you build a theme park in a place where it rains all the time?
Or Florida?
Yeah.
Hey, you know what would be a good idea for this theme park? Mud.
Mud. So one thing, the plot of the movie, we kind of said they go back, and then it turns out that InGen was signed, John Hammond signs it over, and InGen is going to bring dinosaurs back to different places in basically North America, and they build a theme park, an amphitheater, to kind of parade these animals around, which is a terrible idea. So that's kind of the premise. I think it's a good premise. I think execution's
I like
good
it.
too. Again, Julianne Moore.
I said one of my notes for this was
Fucking hate
for
her.
being Spielberg still, the plot, the acting, and the cinematography all were just not great to me.
Yeah, the acting leaves a lot to be desired. I thought the plot it's better than them just going back to the park
It
like a
drags,
generic.
though.
It
and
absolutely
so,
does.
Like, just the idea is the plot and
Like you
theory
said-
makes sense, but like there's scenes and sequences
But,
where I'm like, they don't need to
The
be
main
here.
storyline, what they're setting up, doesn't happen for like an hour and a half.
Exactly. It just drags out.
They're setting up San Diego for the last half hour to be
Or like
San Diego.
Julianne Moore when they first get there and she's like running after these Stegosauruses.
Where there's somebody standing right behind her for the first time that they see her again, and she's just like, "Oh, hi, Vince Vaughn."
Yeah.
Like she's not like, "Oh my God, I didn't hear you." Like nothing.
I was on this island by myself all this time, and now
Yeah.
there's people here.
So, like you said, this could have been 45 on the island, 45 in
I would've
San
loved it.
Diego, and I think that would have made for a great movie.
Yeah, it seemed drawn out on the island and then rushed in San Diego.
problem-
This movie is also super, super cruel, and I like that. We talked about that I think right before we got on the air, but I was like,
They're
I
terrible,
was
these
watching it, and I
dinos.
was like, I know it's puppets, and I know it's CGI, and I know it's animatronics. But I was like getting depressed watching them like just be terrible human beings to these creatures.
Can we bring up the guy then?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's
I don't remember his name.
He's the best death.
My favorite death, most deserved, also the worst.
I will
Like,
find his name.
Working IMDb here. So
yeah,
I'm
I got you.
I'm
I got
on there
you.
now.
I like
you
his-
keep talking, Shane.
I
I'm
liked
looking.
the little touches on this, and this is one
so
of yours.
While I'm looking at this, he is the astronaut who's on the International Space Station
He's in Armageddon.
Armageddon.
Yeah,
yes.
he's got the wrench and he's just hitting shit with the wrench.
Yeah, he's great.
Love him in Armageddon, hate him in this.
So he is Dieter Stark is his name. So we would have never remembered.
No.
No, I
So-
don't even think that's even ever said.
One
No,
of
I
the
don't think it is either. He's just the cruel guy with the electric poker
Yeah.
thing.
So one of the things in this movie that I really liked is like when Vince Vaughn's getting ready to light up, they're like, that'll really throw off the dinosaur. Thought a cool attention to detail. And another one was when this
Wait,
guy
when Vince Vaughn's getting ready.
smoke a cigarette, she's like, that scent can throw off a
Ah,
dinosaur
okay,
or whatever,
okay.
like, and they won't come anywhere near them. So there's a scene which Shane Grant is getting ready to talk about that they're like, these dinosaurs don't have any interaction with humans really. There's no reason for them to want to hurt the humans. And at that,
They say, they have no reason to fear us, and then he has
He just pokes it.
He has like the cattle
prodder,
prod, and he goes,
yeah.
"Oh, now they do," and he like,
Yeah,
he,
he's a
like,
fucking
shocks
dickhead.
the compy in the neck.
yeah, it's this little lizard dinosaur.
So he has probably the most deserved, but probably out of all the deaths, this one I would take last. Is when the compies are like chasing him through the
Chasing him and then just like
And basically
slowly
just
eating
slowly
him.
eat him alive,
Yeah.
like
I'd
piranhas.
take a T-Rex, just bite me in
Yes.
half.
like a school of piranhas. They just like
Yeah,
eat him
Just
alive.
make it quick. I think now I've kind of talked about things that I dislike with this movie. One of the things I do actually like is how the blood. So there's the blood with that scene. There's the blood with the T-Rex where it
And
just
then
drips down the waterfall.
The waterfall
which
one
is
I like a
fucking
lot.
awesome.
That one
I
was
think
sick.
with that the water turns red in his scene, doesn't it?
No, yeah, that's what he
does,
said.
but
In that
it's
scene,
like-
it's
Yeah.
because they pan away from him past the log that he had
It's-
jumped over.
it's a
and
way
then you
of-
see the puddle getting.
It's a way to
wetter.
give you a brutal death without having an R
It
rating.
keeps some PG. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keeps them PG.
Is this PG-2 or PG-13?
This one might be at the point where PG-13 was kind of starting to be like normalized. That was one of the things that I really liked. I think like I said,
This
the
is
plot.
PG-13.
The plot, I think, is good for a sequel. They don't just return to the island just to return.
Let's just go. We're gonna go to the
Yeah,
park.
the villains are very obvious and
It's very they disrespect the animals.
disrespect the animals.
So there's another thing that we noticed when we were watching it. Roland is the hunter. All he wants to do is kill a T-Rex, bag a T-Rex. He wants a male. He wants a buck. He calls it the whole thing. And there's a scene that's like straight Vietnam, and the raptors are just kind of like hunting them in the field, and a bunch of them die there. And then as they're leaving, like they're getting off the island, and Ludlow, who's the bad guy, is talking to Roland and like, "Oh wait, you got your buck. You did what you wanted
Yeah.
to do." And he goes, "Yeah, but Ajay didn't make it."
Who the fuck is
We were
Ajay?
all like, "Who the fuck is Ajay?" And
that
it was
the-
just one of the other guys that they like said. Yeah, this guy's all butthurt, and they'd set him up, I guess, as if he's like this main. He was just one of the guys. He's the guy who, when they first get to the island, the hunters, he's in the car where like the seat comes out the side
Yeah,
of the car,
which that was
and
awesome.
which was cool. That's it. That's all he was though, and I guess that's just like his best bud. Like, and he was just really upset about it, but.
The only one out of them I was a little upset about was Carlos. He was the one that
No, Carlos was
this
the
guy
worst.
Stark. He's leaving and he
He's
goes,
just got
"Hey
his-
Carlos,
he's got
I'm
his
going to
headphones
take
in."
a shit."
Yeah.
Carlos had his headphones in. He gets squished by a T-Rex, and it stuck to his foot.
I have that note.
And then he just kept squishing
For 3 feet, for 3 steps.
But why would you put headphones in on a dinosaur island? Like, wouldn't you want to
Also,
be on
He
your
wanted to
toes?
listen to his salsa music.
Also, yes, but
They
yeah,
are off the island of Costa Rica.
it would have been weird if like it was just like heavy metal like
Yeah.
playing. So I also really like that too, Shane, where the dinosaur gets stuck to the bottom of the guy gets stuck to the bottom of the dinosaur's foot for like 3 steps. I thought that was cool. So yeah, so Goldblum one of the things too about this is he just kind of stands there. When anytime a dinosaur's like attacking, everybody just kind of stands. I think like everybody's slower in this movie. Other ones were like, let's fucking run.
Yeah.
Which we didn't with the first one. We also didn't talk about Laura Dern just like casually just sticking her hand in shit and giant.
That pile of shit
Is
is bigger than the dinosaur.
I know it's so gross too.
It's incredible.
You know, I don't really have too many notes on this other than like I really just dislike this movie.
What? She was sticking her hand in the shit to look for those berries, right? To see
The poison.
There's a plant because she's a botanist.
The third movie, they all stick their hands in shit. But
Yeah,
they're
Because
looking
they
for
need
the
the
sat
phone.
They're looking for the phone.
Third one, she's just like,
Also,
I just want to see if there's
that
berries in
shit.
But that's like scientific.
The
like, that
shit
makes
that they're
sense.
putting their phone in, their hands in the third movie, is from like the biggest dinosaur that we've seen that took out a T-Rex,
And it's
and
still
it was
waist-
smaller
like
than
waist high
it
to
was
me.
smaller than that
Yeah.
that Triceratops shit.
Also, that which we'll get to in the third one, but yeah, I mean the ending was cool.
I had a problem, and I don't know if it was me or not. So I wanted to ask you guys this because I think we're all on the same page that none of us really like this movie. Is it a
boring.
dinosaur movie? And it's like when I watch a bad Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Were there pew pews and fights and like cool spaceships? Yes. Were there dinosaurs? And was I still gonna watch it from start to finish? But of the 3, did I like it? No.
I think this one is like one that you just throw on and it's in the
Well, there's-
background. Where the first one, if it's on in the background, I'm gonna probably
I
watch
haven't
the whole
seen this
thing.
movie since I saw it when I was young. I
Yeah.
know for a fact I haven't watched this one since, and
See,
I think there's a reason why.
Nobody highly regards this film
I
either.
have, and I don't know why, but I remember this being better than it is.
Well, I mean, you were younger.
The only thing
But
I
I feel
remember.
like I've seen this recently
The
though.
only thing I remember is the San Diego part, and I thought it was longer, and I remember really enjoying it, and I still really enjoyed that part.
Yeah, that was cool.
But also, every time I think of this movie, the first thing I think of is that stupid gymnastics scene. And
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
fucking hate
like,
that
fuck
scene.
you.
Also,
Was
the
this-
raptors fighting each other, like when they're hunting Julianne Moore and
They
whatever.
start
and she-
fighting each other instead.
yeah,
They're,
but she
like, rolling
starts
around on the
pulling
ground.
the shingles off the.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's
Yeah.
dumb, and then she falls
so that
down.
was the other thing that we were talking about, because Trash Bag was watching with
Yeah.
me too at one point. What a terrible like architecture plan.
Yeah,
like
just-
there's so many windows. Like,
Yeah.
why don't you just bunker shit down? Why are you shingling your
But also, like,
buildings?
Yeah.
if one shingle is removed, all of a sudden all of
They
the shingles
slide off?
and
like,
they make the raptors less. I mean, well,
they're
they
not
are
as smart.
different. They're not as smart.
I think
Yeah.
they're smarter in this than the first one.
But the first one,
they don't use their hands.
They hunt in packs the same way they did in the first one.
they just seem dumber in this one. I don't know.
Also, we did forget
Well,
to
they
mention.
get kicked out a window by a 7-year-old. That's why.
Yeah, fucking idiots. We did forget to mention, which again, so the Raptors fight and Julianne Moore gets away, which sucks because I wish she got eaten. But the first one, the scene where Laura Dern goes to turn the power back on, like that whole Raptor scene too is awesome. Like you said, Shane, they are the best. Like the T-Rex is the show pony, but the Raptors are the best parts of these movies.
They just look the most realistic.
I don't think I remembered that scene where she's turning the power back on being as terrifying as it was.
It's really, really
Where
well
she, like,
executed
thinks she
in the first
finds
movie.
Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
And
And
it's
it's
just
his
his
hand.
hand. And
So
then
awesome.
the Raptor's like there. And then I don't remember what happened to her leg, but she just starts
gets-
having this weird limp.
Doesn't
Yeah.
the
Did she
raptor
get
claw?
clawed?
I think she
I
gets
think
clawed.
she
I didn't
does.
see it.
And then
Yeah.
that's when she meets back up again with Alan Grant.
Yeah, I think she gets
where
clawed.
their first reaction is they don't give a shit about each other.
run, 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 run,
It's
run.
run, but it's also we're the kids, which I also found that very interesting. Which we kind of breezed over because that we don't need to talk about that.
Clever girl.
So back to the
so-
second one.
Was this sound bad? Did you watch the second one in your setup?
I did.
Was the sound like inconsistent where like the rain was too loud at times?
Yes.
Okay.
With the
'Cause
dialogue.
I have
It's
like
bad.
I have like a bar speaker,
Yeah.
but I also am having like really bad sound problems with my laptop and Bluetooth
Okay.
for whatever reason. I don't know how to
That's weird.
explain it. I like couldn't hear what they were saying over the rain.
Well, typically they would ADR scene like that, so
I-
so you're not hearing like the sound of the rain isn't overshadowing the
Yeah.
sound of the dialogue, and they didn't. It's
I
weird.
noticed this with 3, which is kind of a common theme with HBO Max, is that the score is blowing your speakers out, but then the dialogue you can't hear.
A lot of older movies are
So
like
I'm constantly turning the volume
You think
up
it's
and
HBO
down.
Max, or you think it's the
everything
movie?
I watch on HBO Max. Like even when I watch Barry, the noise and all the music and shit is loud, but then the dialogue is low, and I have to keep like changing the
that.
volume.
Maybe.
That could be what it is too.
So I watched 3. I watched the end of 2 and the 3 in the office, in my office, without like even a sound bar or anything, and it was fucking loud, and I was only at like
Yeah, it's
60.
The score is super loud, but then the dialogue is low. Like I was watching with the subtitles because I
Yeah.
couldn't hear what the fuck they were saying.
I think I did that too.
What's
One
your
is
least favorite scene in this movie?
the gymnastics scene?
Gymnastics.
100%.
What's your most favorite scene in this movie?
The T-Rex, aside from with his giant fucking tongue licking all of them, right after he eats them, the blood waterfall is fucking awesome.
Super creepy.
Yeah.
that fucking
Yeah, it's just
tongue.
like so
I also
Super
really
creepy,
like
kind of hot.
kinda hot. So Audrey went like, it's T-Rex time, and I go, okay, cool.
I also like the shot at the end. It's the first shot we get of a pterodactyl. It's like they're kind of panning out at the end, and the pterodactyl's just kind of flying away from the island.
Yeah.
It's the
missed
very.
that.
It's I wrote it down. First look at a pterodactyl is
Because they
fucking
act like
sick.
in 3 that they were just stuck in that caged area the entire time.
You get the first look in 2, and it's
I
a
missed
really
that.
cool shot. Because the pterodactyls are one of my favorite parts of the movie too. Because they're the same as the raptors, how they like make them look. Because I think they're animatronic too.
I think my problem with this movie. Sorry, that is a cool part. My problem with this movie, there's just it's really stupid at points. Like when they like with the baby T-Rex, they like take the muzzle off the T-Rex 15 feet before the door, which they're there
Also,
for the
like,
T-Rex,
they
and it's
ta-
like, why
they-
would it bite you?
They ship everything. They ship these things to San Diego. What kills everybody on the boat? The T-Rex, because the T-Rex is in the cargo hold.
2 people go down.
But like when they get on the boat, like the
don't fucking-
captain is like
Yeah, because it
eating,
it
and
dries
there's,
right
like,
in.
There's like blood everywhere. But the T-Rex is in the cargo hold, all drugged up.
Maybe
say.
there was another.
That's why
dinosaur.
I remembered raptors. I was like, oh, maybe the raptors got on the boat or something. Like
They don't
that.
really
But then they didn't
show
explain
it,
anything.
right? They just
Unless
no.
we're all just missing.
Maybe I just
Maybe,
spaced
but
out.
all of
Maybe-
us
yeah.
did
Maybe I
though.
fell asleep.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, we were an hour and 40 minutes into a shit movie, so it wouldn't have been
So this was
surprising.
just a very disappointing second film.
Cool trucks.
Yeah, tricks were cool.
Cool trucks, not tricks. Like
Truck.
the-
No,
the-
I said
yeah. Oh, I thought you were.
I
okay.
said trucks, but
Yeah.
it sounded like tricks.
Yeah, I like cool. Everything in this movie seemed like it was made for marketing, and they did a lot of marketing. So, that might be
the reason I dislike 2 is the reason I like 3 is because 2 seems like it's way too long, but 3
Yep.
the pacing is very good.
I felt like 3 was. I didn't have much to say about 3.
I enjoyed 3.
I
three was
thought 3 was
long.
I
actually
enjoyed it,
better.
But it was also the way in which I watched it. I was very hungover when I was watching 3, so that had a problem. There's aspects of cinematography I didn't like in 3. Jump into 3. What do you got for us for 3? Art?
Closing
Before we
thoughts
get
on
into
2.
that, we gotta get a raptor in here. Compy.
That's a good one.
There you go, Shane. That's how the episodes go to. That's all you can say from the rest of the episode. That's how you can talk. You gotta derive what you're saying from that.
Compy kind of sounds like little tiny yappy dogs.
Yeah,
that's what
you
I
nailed it.
thought of. Yeah,
Nailed it.
It's pretty good.
Um,
That's
haven't-
Dr. Bob Malcolm.
We haven't had a repeat yet. All we have left is
We
Raptor.
gotta get a raptor yellow too. Yellow raptor, isn't that like the truck?
closing thoughts on 2 before we kind of move on, because I was very just disappointed. I had a lot of there's a lot of dumb plot holes. The only thing to me was, have you ever had coordinates explained to you? Because they yell at Jeff Goldblum for reading the wrong coordinates or something.
Like in my life?
Yeah,
Like would
like
I
I have
know what the
no idea
coordinates
what they
are?
mean.
No, I don't know what they are.
Yeah, I don't know how do you read them either.
We didn't talk about the glass scene. That might actually be my favorite scene.
The trailer, right?
But we didn't go
Where
into
she
that whole
falls on the
glass
glass and
scene
he
where
starts
it's
spidering?
just slowly
Yeah,
cracking.
that's cool.
I really wish she would have fell through.
But that is the coolest.
But it was her lucky backpack that saved her.
Lucky backpack in 3 too.
There is a lucky backpack in 3. I hated Julianne Moore. I was like, she is so fucking annoying. I just fucking hated it, and that's what ruined the movie for me. Laura Dern and Alan Grant are so lovable. I love how Laura Dern just gets referred to as her real name.
Laura Dern, yeah. Ellie
Um,
Stadler, nobody wants to say that.
closing
Or
thoughts on The
whatever.
Lost World. Anything?
Too long.
Too long?
And drags out. Like we said, if it was half Park, half San Diego, I think that's better. But I think Park took too long. San Diego was rushed, so the movie just feels like it's dragged out.
Yeah.
And
So I've been
it was
on
boring.
I've been on IMDb this whole time, just like looking up character names and stuff like that. And regardless of which movie I'm looking at, the play trailer is the video of the T-Rex with the Jeeps from the original Jurassic Park. And so it's just like the thumbnail, and the more I'm like looking at it, I'm like, I want to watch Jurassic Park. And I just watched it a week ago.
It's a good movie. It's really good. My closing thoughts, it's just a disappointing movie. I think some of it has to do with Spielberg not working with the author. I'm not even going to attempt to say his name.
Yeah.
But I don't really know. He
Cretan.
had this Cretan. Creature. And that's
Creature?
kind of all I got to say about that.
The house
So,
stuff?
Justice for Eddie.
Justice for Eddie, too, yes. And that fucking stupid gymnastics scene. All right, so now we move on to Jurassic Park 3, which opened July 18th, 2001. Highest budget yet, $93 million. Box office, opening weekend, $50.3 million. Worldwide, $368.8 million total, which is about in half of what the second one made. This was directed by Joe Johnston, who directed Captain America, The First Avenger, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, The Wolfman. He initially wanted to direct the sequel, but Spielberg wanted to, so he said Joe could do the possible third one. Sam Neill agreed to return, wanting to improve his performance of the character from the first film. And William H. Macy was urged to take the role by his 2001 film Focus, his co-star Laura Dern. The script underwent substantial rewrites, which I think if you watch the film, you can probably gauge that. The final version wasn't even finished halfway through production. They were just shooting pages at one point. And then as we've been talking about marketing, Universal approached this film very differently. They avoided excessive marketing, fearing any sort of backlash. They felt the audience was already very aware of the sequel. Rotten Tomatoes, critical score 47, audience score 36.
Do you agree with that?
Which one?
That audience? Well, I don't care about the critics.
No.
36 from the audience, and it was 51 for The Lost World.
Yeah, so The Lost World, audience was 51, critical 53. No, I you know what? I don't. I think this movie is exactly what a Jurassic Park took dinosaur movies to the next level.
Were there dinosaur movies?
I don't know if
prior?
there was, but like monster movies per se, where there
Okay.
was a little bit more to it. There was this like I feel like it just upgraded them a bit, where like that kind of quality made film had kind of been there, but this is just kind of a let's get right to it, let's get right into it. I think they spend 10 minutes setting up the plot of the film, and they dive in, which is really just
They're like almost immediately back on the island.
Yeah, Alan Grant and Laura Dern's character are not together because there was really no romantic showings in the first film. And he says, I'll never, ever go back there. And like Bob said earlier, he's just like, I pulled the checkbook out. And then he's like, all right, fine, I'll go. And they go under a false pretense. They were just going to fly over the island. Here they were going to save this kid who ended up there with his rich stepdad in the beginning of the film. So I like this movie because it just gets into it. It's a crisp hour and a half.
Yeah.
You get right into it, and as soon as you land on that island, there's dinosaurs attacking.
It's entertaining.
It is. It's mindless
And
popcorn.
I said this to you. I don't know if it's the nostalgia because for some reason, I think this movie just came out around the time when I was watching movies a lot. That I might have seen this movie the most out of all.
I feel like I actually
And
owned
it
this
might
one.
have been
I feel
the
like this
nostalgia.
movie, I only remember the parasailing scene, and I only remember the pterodactyl
When they're
enclosure.
in the birdcage.
But like, I feel like those scenes I remember more than any other Jurassic Parks. Like I was the same. Like I'm like, did I watch this all the time, or is this one of those ones that was just always on TV?
I think it just came out in that sweet spot where like this might have been the first.
I
One that
remember-
I owned on like DVD.
I remember
like, we just watched
owning
all
it
the time.
because it was a silver. It was like a silver VHS cassette
Yeah.
tape, and I remember.
Oh, the cover for this movie, like I don't know if this is the movie poster or not. But
Sweet.
It's
It's sweet.
Yeah,
The
no, it's
pterodactyl
awesome.
It's
silhouette.
like the silhouette of the pterodactyl
No.
over the Jurassic Park logo with the 3 slashed in.
No like title to it. It's just Jurassic Park
Jurassic Park
3.
The intro to this movie is really dope.
And
Like they have the water and then the T-Rex steps and it vibrates into the Jurassic Park logo
Yeah.
and
cool.
then it's like the raptor slashing it.
Slash.
Yeah,
It's
it's
super
cool.
cool.
What is this dinosaur in this movie?
So I forget the name of it.
The like half amphibian,
The one
the
with
red,
the
one with
sail,
the red
like
tint,
with
right?
with the fin.
So
Yeah.
what's annoying about this movie? Does that dinosaur attack the boat? Is that the dinosaur? Because it can. They showed that it can be in water in the beginning of the movie. That causes the whole plot of the movie. Because they,
Oh yeah, like what kills the
boat
guy
driver,
who's driving the boat?
which is
I don't know. And then
did
there's
you see the name of that company?
yeah. Oh, it's one of the only notes I took. Dinosaur.
Yeah, because it's a
Absolutely
parasailing.
incredible.
It's awesome.
Absolutely incredible.
So they could have crashed into the rocks and still been fine, and kind of just slowly
I
came
said the
down.
same thing.
Like they were like, we gotta go.
So bad. I'm like, that boat crashing 200 feet below you is not affecting you
If
No.
anything,
directly.
that would have helped them out because then they would have just stayed.
They would have had
in
an
one
anchor.
instead of floating around.
They just would have slowly came
Yeah.
down.
But he's acting like that's a life or death situation.
Also,
like he's
that-
tied to a wood chipper and it's pulling him in slowly.
Do you want to run through plot at all? Or are we
I
just gonna
kind
go
of that's
jump
the
into this
plot
thing?
is they bring San. It's a popcorn dinosaur movie. This is very just not a lot of plot. It's a lot of
Kid
events.
goes on dinosaur,
Yeah.
doesn't come back.
Kid goes on dinosaur, goes to Dinosaur Island.
William H. Macy
Isla Hubla?
convinces
Well, hold on. William H. Macy pulling Tia Leone is
Ever.
fucking unbelievable.
Yeah,
Well,
she was a hot piece in the early 2000s.
I hate her in this movie.
she's awful.
She's
in
an
this
awful.
movie.
But William H. Macy pulling her, his face looks like it's made out of leather.
His
Hey, he
face-
has a nice mustache.
His face.
He does have a pretty nice. Yeah.
His face is more beat up than my softball glove.
Now,
And they look.
I
similar.
actually thought he looked good in this movie.
I like the. But
Sam
I
Neill
do
looks
like
fantastic.
The character growth of William H Macy from being just a big old coward on a dinosaur island
yeah, I like
to
that
being
he.
like a man at the end. And he's like real confident in himself
Yeah.
and shit too.
Yeah, look.
How about Udesky? Let's just
Yeah.
jump into this one. Udesky is like the contracted, like
He's just a-
I don't know, like
the
assassin,
pilot?
whatever he is.
I
All
think
he is
He's
a travel
He's
agent.
the bad. No, he's the bad guy from Air Bud,
Yeah, he's the clown.
and he's like a contractor. Like
All he said
Yeah.
in the movie,
Like
he said he was like, "Oh, they're like,
Well,
how
why
did we get you?"
Why is he in a location where they're blowing up planes with like incendiary rifles?
I don't know because he said the travel agent called me like I was just filling in for
is
somebody.
he supposed to be
they
like a
said.
mercenary?
I
or
I
something?
don't know what these
I thought
people
they
are.
were all
When I was a
mercenaries.
kid, I thought the actor who played Udesky and William H. Macy were like brothers.
You would
They
think
kind of
they are.
they kind of look like
Because
it.
they're both
So-
goofy looking dudes with mustaches.
He gets killed in quite possibly the worst way ever by the Raptors,
which
he
is
just
cool.
stabs his
which
neck.
is where we had to stop. No, he's not. It's even worse though because he steps on his back. So this dude's basically like paralyzed on the
Yeah.
ground, and they're like, "Oh, he's dead." And then he starts moving, and they're like, "He's not dead." And then the Raptors jump out because they were trying to trap him.
Again, possibly favorite scene from the trilogy when the Raptors are using him as bait.
Yeah.
That's so fucking
And
cool.
then they all come
I
out.
thought that was awesome.
I love the
we
Raptor
stopped-
scenes.
we watched it today. We had to do it in 2 sittings because and we stopped as Udesky is just paralyzed, not dead yet, but like we had to stop it then. And Trashbag and I could not stop laughing about just Udesky in general. He's like, "What kind of name is that?" That's
Udesky,
so
yeah.
funny. And I'm like, he's just like. I said, at least if they eat his legs, he won't feel it. Like, I don't know. Like,
That was like so. One of the main things about this movie that I remember thinking stupid was that the Raptors could communicate, and they set this up. Rewatching it, I was like, okay, this makes sense.
they make it make sense. With
Yeah.
what do they call it?
The brain,
the
piece in
chamber,
brain,
whatever their thing
the chamber
is.
in the brain,
chamber.
Yeah.
and then like them setting the trap, being smarter. Like they did say that dinosaurs, if they stayed around, would have been the dominant, and I feel like eventually humans would have taken over. But like they were thinking, basically, if they stayed around, the Raptors could communicate. Like that was Sam Neill's like
Probably because they're
speech.
such
TED Talk.
good predators. That
Yeah, like nobody would have been
Yeah.
able to stop them.
I just want to go over one of the notes I have down because it's making me laugh. I know he's super rich, but no way William H. Macy pulls Tia Leone. And then like a half hour later, I revisited it and I go, never mind, he's not even rich. What the heck?
Yeah, yeah. He runs like an
that's-
electronics store or something like
No,
that.
a tiling.
Oh yeah,
He's like,
tiling
he's
store.
like a
yeah.
contractor.
Which that's what pisses me off. It's like they do this for the money, but they don't even think to make sure that this
They don't
check
cash
can't
the
cash
check.
before they go on
But
this
also,
potentially life-ending trip.
Another funny point I had, but also makes more sense when you realize he's just a contractor. I wrote, let us treat you to dinner, and then he goes to like a shitty dive bar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? That actually, I thought that was just their treat, like Sam Neill's
I didn't
joint,
even
like
think about
Grant's.
that as I was watching.
I was like,
but-
oh, it makes sense because he's just a
So the
contractor. He
dude
can't
Ben
afford.
is the new
The
father.
part-
He's got
yeah.
the camcorder. So
Yeah.
They obviously have some money because they have a video camera.
Yeah.
And they go on the dinosaur, right? And how long have they been gone? Oh, he's been missing for a week.
8 weeks.
8 weeks. His body is super decomposed when they get hit with it, and it
Yeah.
literally calms down. And her
That-
name's
yeah.
Amanda, and it literally is like his dead arms are like
He's
wrapped around
just
Amanda,
bones.
and she starts like crying, and he's like, "It's all right," and she goes, "It's not even that. Eric is still here," and I'm like, "You're dating that guy,
I
and
know.
he just tried to zombie fuck you, and you're not even that upset about it."
She's not upset about him being dead at all. She just
No.
wants to fuck William H. Macy again.
Yeah,
like, that's
because-
where it changes, because he's a man now.
She loves Tiles. He's not even a man yet.
But she
though.
said he would
I
would
also-
not be
I
here.
actually made a note. She looks at Grant, like I think they're in the plane. I wrote down
Sex eyes?
Mrs. Kirby wants to fuck Dr. Grant, and Mr. Kirby wants to watch.
He strikes me at that point in the film as the
Yeah.
kind of guy who would get cucked, like straight up.
Well, then they were like, well, how do you know the Curtises? What is that their name?
Kirby's.
A friend from church. And they're just like, oh, okay, cool. Like, dude, come on. Bad acting all around.
Trash
Like,
bag goes, billionaires don't go to church.
yeah, you ain't going to catch...
Elon Musk doesn't
why
have time for church.
Why can't I remember his
John
name?
Hammond?
John Hammond. I can't
He's
remember his
literally
name.
so important. He's the only name him and Ian Malcolm I remember.
He is
all
so
the time.
important that he actually died in the first book. They didn't do that in the movie.
He
Spoiler
dies in the
alert.
first one?
Yeah, they kept him alive.
Do you know how?
I don't.
All right, I'm curious if it's. I want him to die by a T-Rex. But so now, knowing that, like, if I want to read the book, I don't know if the raptors are really important in the book. Like, I think that they do that for the movies because they're, like, a cool thing. I doubt it's a T-Rex because the T-Rex was not supposed to be that significant until the CGI worked out.
He probably doesn't leave the island. Like, that's probably what happens. He just probably misses the plane or sacrifices himself or
You
something.
think he's not as bad?
Yeah,
he's not
maybe.
such a
Maybe
bad
he's
guy.
not.
Or
He's
maybe
still dating
he's
that bad guy.
Maybe he's even worse. Maybe he's fucking the dinosaurs.
Ooh.
Oh,
He's
it's not
he's
frog
the
DNA, it's his DNA.
It's his DNA.
All the dinosaurs look
They
like
all have
old-
wild. They all have wild eyes.
He's just
Wait,
just
maybe
in
that's why the raptor in the third one does have that little thing on the hair.
Yeah.
It's like a mohawk in the third
He's just
one.
in the lab, like just spraying loads all over the place.
like,
All
a,
right,
like a goddamn dump truck.
Come on, Raptor.
Oh no!
All right, Shane.
We're doing
I think you should. We all gotta be raptors. We gotta talk to each other. Shane's raptor is actually pretty good.
All right, I think we need to end this. Like,
I think we need to keep it going.
I think it's funny that nobody says who they actually are. Like, everybody is just not who they say that they are. The Kirby's, Alan Grant's assistant really is clearly steals eggs, and he's just like, I was
Billy?
Billy. He's like, that scene is like so obvious, and he's just
Ah.
like, okay, Billy, you were peeing, you were jerking off back
like-
there.
He's not a bad guy. He's just young. No, he's a fucking idiot.
I don't think he's not a bad guy.
He
Billy
just-
dies a hero, but doesn't die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But he does be a hero.
yeah. I get what he was trying to do, but like, because once again,
Billy is the lead in The Many Sons of Newark.
yes, yeah. I was like, where's the fuck is this guy from?
All morning it was
Yeah.
everybody in this movie. How do I know that person? How do I
Yeah.
know that person? How do I know that person?
I mean, it's got a good cast. It's not like a badly
it's got a
acted-
good cast for 1990. When was this?
2001.
2001. It's got a good cast for 2001.
Okay, so they start looking for the son. They can't find him, so they go to the abandoned building, which is just asking for trouble, where they break the vending machine, where William H. Macy's like trying to pay for the food in the vending machine.
I like that.
And I
scene
like
a
that.
lot.
I liked
like
it too.
He's
I like
such
that
a-
he
he's
didn't
such a
break
cow.
the.
And then
he didn't break
Billy
it.
just kicks it, no problem, and then
He
he
tries
tries
to
to kick
kick
it and
it.
limps off.
I
like
love
that.
that. I was like
that.
this. I
Well, we
like
said
this.
this. We said with that too. Like kicking the glass of a vending machine is just a great way to like tear every fucking muscle in your leg. Like, wouldn't you just throw something through the glass?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
go
it was
find
not
a
as cool.
chair.
It's not as cool. But
Well,
also,
he was
I don't
wearing-
know.
He was wearing Timberlands.
So yeah, he was product placement. So I don't know how they all made it off the island because he's always saying be quiet, and then all of them are always screaming.
Big turnaround in this one. She
Especially-
has The mega. Can we talk about the fact that they send the entire military to pick them up?
I know. Yeah. Well, that because
Works for the State Department.
Laura Dern's husband or boyfriend, whatever, works for the State Department. That's why that happens.
It's just Mrs. Kirby. She fucking sucks.
Yeah, she's just
screaming
yelling, which I
at the
guess is like
worst.
a legitimate thing, but like
Distressed mother.
I wanted to. One point I wrote about her. I wrote, "Dumb bitch really thought she'd get a signal on the abandoned building phone."
oh yeah, I know.
That
She's
scene
like,
I hated.
She just shrugged. She's like,
Also,
I guess I'll try.
I
No,
hated
fucking
that.
Idiot.
props to the Raptor inside that building because he is rock solid
for
still.
solid
Couple
few
seconds,
Like,
and then
yeah,
he's just
I
like-
think I got you.
And
I
then
got you so good here.
they're so smart, but then
You
they
know,
end up
they're
getting
like-
trapped.
And I think it's been proven that they couldn't do literally any of those things. Like they're just like not that smart at all. But it was proven by science and not Steven Spielberg. So I believe one over the other.
Yeah, Spielberg.
Spielberg.
Yes, absolutely. He knows more. Michael Creature knows about it more.
I didn't,
We
like,
wanna
I
spend
didn't think the cinematography in this one was very good. There were scenes that were like really.
It's all foggy. The entire movie's foggy. That's the layout of the
It's
movie.
all kind of dark.
Yeah.
You know.
But I like the brightness of the colors in the first movie, and the second one even uses that. But the third one it's very bland tone. I mean,
do really
I mean,
like
if
the,
you look at some of his other work, I mean, it's not doesn't pop. You know,
I do really like the pterodactyl scene though, even though it's super dark and foggy and like you can't
Well, that's
really see
supposed
shit.
to
Oh, that's like the
Yeah.
horror element.
That's
of
the-
works
that,
for
yeah.
it.
and
And then
um,
the pterodactyl scene at the end, you said it's like your favorite.
yeah,
Oh, I think
Flying
that's-
off the island.
I think that's one of the best shots in all.
Before we get into the cool part of the kid, like the kid is needs to be talked about. The one line that I did not like about this movie that I absolutely hated was that there's a line where Alan says something about not liking dinosaurs, and he says they didn't try to eat me then. And then he said in the first movie when he's napping with the kids, he's like, it's what they do, meaning you can't blame them for following
Yeah.
their instincts.
Oh, that's
And it's
that's
like-
when I mentioned earlier. He said, "I read both your books." He said, "I liked it better before you went to the island."
Yes.
Well, they didn't try to eat me.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is, and it's just
Yeah.
like
it contradicts.
it
what he
contradicts
says in the
because that's
first.
who he is. Like he loves these creatures, and he's like
Yeah.
even in his most dire situation, first time he's like you can't blame them for being who they are, and so that's the one line I
don't
definitely
think it contradicts though, because like you will look at them differently after you are the prey, as opposed to them never existing, and you're just
But
looking
are
at
you
them
gonna
from,
are
like-
you gonna go on a safari in Africa and get mad that the lions are
But,
trying to eat
but
you?
does he know he's going on a safari when he goes to Jurassic Park originally?
No, but I'm just
You know
saying
what I
that's
mean?
when-
Like it's not like he's signed up to go see dinosaurs.
so this is after like the T-Rex ate him though, tried to eat him, and he's just like they're just following their instincts.
I know, but I'm like, he's gonna come off the island with a different view of the
Oh, I
animals
100%
as a
would.
whole. So that's why, like, I don't think he means it in like a negative way. I just think the second book that he writes is about what happened on the island.
Mm-hmm.
His first
Yeah.
book was about dinosaurs because he's an expert and he studied them forever.
Which I guess absolutely makes sense. I'm not going to deny that. I just feel like it contradicts kind of the
Like you
premise
think
he gives the entire
he
first
still
movie.
would have stood by them just being creatures that are following their instincts.
Yeah. Like being like, I hate them now, but
No,
they
but
were
like,
following
look,
their
they did-
instinct.
they did what
Which
they-
I mean, I guess is kind of what he's saying. He's like, I don't like them anymore. But so I guess let's just get into the kid who saves Dr. Shane Grant, and he captures the pea. I would be curious to see how he captured that pea of the raptor.
He's got to be just standing
With his
underneath
mouth,
it,
you'd think.
I hope so. He's got to drink something.
holding that little beaker.
Yeah.
They would have
Getting
ate him.
drenched.
The only other stupid thing that I have in this movie is the cell phone tone is like super clear, and it's in the dinosaur's belly.
Yeah. You can
Which
hear
that
it.
dinosaur
And then in the
fucking
shit-
snaps the T-Rex's
I was
neck.
so mad. I was so pissed.
Dude, it happened so quick.
No, the T-Rex needs the T-Rex. Jurassic World, we'll get there, but Jurassic World gives the T-Rex some redemption.
Yeah.
But like the T-Rex needs to be the apex predator, and then it needs to be the velociraptors all the time. Mm-hmm. Like T-Rex is just dominant.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if you're bigger than it. Doesn't matter. The T-Rex is the T-Rex because that's what you've set up as far as being dinosaurs. And then the bigger fear for humans isn't always the T-Rex because they can like outmaneuver the T-Rex. It's the raptors who are just these freak
Killing
hunters.
machines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this movie does that with the raptors, but it just like completely did. This movie should die because it disrespected the dinosaurs.
Still think it's better than the second one. I think just because I like that it
I
just
think
kind
I
of gets
liked
to
the
it.
second one better, actually. I liked aspects of the second one better. This one's all clearly just a movie for movie's sake, like you said. Like,
Money.
it's just like a... Whereas, like, I genuinely enjoy the San Diego stuff in the second one.
I actually
like the idea of the guy really wanting to just hunt a dinosaur for sport.
like that's what
Like, I
would
feel
happen.
like that's a
what
thing that would
happen.
absolutely happen.
Because like this one, I was like, Audrey was asking me, I was like, nah. I'm like, you don't want to watch this one. This one fucking sucks. And like, it ended, and I was like,
But I'm not going to lie.
I
I
liked
feel like I was kind of spaced out for this one for a lot of it.
but you're not
Because,
gonna miss anything.
because I was hungover, too.
But you're also not gonna
See,
miss
I
anything.
had the opposite. I just watched this one today.
So did I.
I
but
was more
hungover.
invested in this one than I was in the second one, which I didn't think was going to happen. Because I remember liking
just-
the second one a lot more than I did.
Again, this one's not plot heavy. The second one is, and this one kind of just gets right to it, right to the
Yeah,
dinosaurs.
This one's just dinosaurs the whole time.
So and then, but yeah, so that cell phone being so clearly
All the time.
heard from thousands of feet away inside a dinosaur's belly just doesn't make any sense. I mean, they're like both running to each other when it's clearly on the one side. Whatever. That I thought that was so stupid. And then you can hear through the shit, and then the ending and the rest. I mean, I don't feel like we need to really talk about anything else because the rest is just action. I mean,
I have
Billy
one-
sacrifices himself. Yeah, I mean,
But he survives.
and I have just one note at the very end about the Raptors. That's kind of it.
I
Other
have
than
one
that-
more question because Shane brought it up and he already answered it, but now I'm curious. What is your favorite scene in all
Of
of
the
them?
movie or all of them?
All
That's a good question.
So I'm going to say
You have the pterodactyl, you said, but give us another one.
the end scene of 3, the pterodactyl.
Yeah, you do
with
love
the-
that scene.
With the end theme playing. And also the raptor scene from 1 where they're hunting them in the
The
kitchen.
kitchen scene.
Yeah, I like that one a lot.
I think Welcome to Jurassic Park.
Just
like
the gates open.
like when
theme is-
when they're out there and they see the
The first dinosaur.
the giant
Like
dinosaur.
where Sam Neill takes
Yeah.
his glasses off.
Yep, and they're like, I love that scene because they're like crooked, and he's
That's
just
a
like,
cool scene too because Ellie's like not paying attention and he like grabs her head and like
yep,
turns it.
and it's just like
That's a
that
cool scene.
is the wonder of for somebody, you know, it's like I don't fucking know if like for me. If Avengers Tower was real
Yeah.
and there was fucking Iron Man at the top, like that would be like holy shit! Like this is the first time, or I think a better example is the Wizarding World and Hogwarts being real, and like I'm seeing Hogwarts for
Yeah.
the first like that, and I feel like they do it so well. The score is perfect, the shot is perfect, it's beautiful green landscape, and the reactions, and it's a classic line.
Welcome to Jurassic Park.
It just encapsulates everything of what these movies are about. And also it's like that nervous energy of, oh my God, these things, but they could kill you instantly, you know? And that's my favorite scene of all of them, I think. Along with the T-Rex tongue. That shit's fucking funny.
I was going to say, I think that
I really like that scene.
and it's not my favorite scene, but like one of the cooler things now that I'm thinking about all 3, that waterfall running red is just
awesome.
so cool. Mine's probably the T-Rex at the end of 1 though, in the museum.
Yeah.
Like when it's roaring and the banner's falling down. The one that they rewrote. Now that I'm like thinking about it.
Yeah, they
where
did
it's just
rewrite
like,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'm the shit. Like
Yeah.
it's just like screaming.
That
at
is
him.
a great scene. We could have done
The
an
first
entire
movie,
2-hour episode on the first
absolutely.
movie, which they do reference that
could've-
scene in Rescue Rangers, which I think is really funny.
That scene, really?
Yeah, there's a reference. You got to watch this movie.
I'm gonna
guys.
watch it. Yeah.
You gotta
How
watch it.
long is it? An hour and a half?
Hour and a half.
All right.
Crisp.
That's perfect.
Crisp hour and a half. Fucking Ugly Sonic's in it, dude. It's hilarious. You gotta watch it.
I might watch it
Do you know who
tomorrow.
the
I was
voice
gonna-
of Ugly Sonic is?
You told us.
Tim
Tim
Robbins.
Robbins.
Tim
Yeah, you
Robbins,
texted
dude.
us.
It's fucking. Oh,
Love
it's just funny that he deserves to be in everything because he's hilarious.
I was gonna watch Jurassic World.
That is a great ending scene though, where the T-Rex destroys and kind of starts everything off, but then also saves the day.
Saves them. It's just attacking the raptors, not because he's protecting them, just because
That's his instinct.
That's what he wants to do.
Yep. Shane, what about you? Definitely the pterodactyl.
Well, the pterodactyl, the
That
kitchen.
or the raptor
yeah,
kitchen
you
scene.
said that.
All right, rank them. I think we all have one as one.
I'd go 1, 3, 2.
I would also go one.
I think
1, 2,
I'm
3.
1, 2, 3, but
Yeah.
I need to sit down and actually watch 3 for.
I mean, the
stuff.
second one literally.
I think I just liked Jeff Goldblum. I was in a silly, goofy mood.
You're in a silly, goofy mood?
And like,
I enjoy.
and plus the San Diego stuff. Like I said, like,
is cool.
I genuinely like think that the other hour and 45 minutes is rough.
They all have their moments. None
But,
of
like,
them are
The
bad.
San Diego scene is just that's what I want to see. If dinosaurs are going to exist, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, I think
What
they're all
happens
cool.
when they get out?
Which is, I think, what we're going to see
But I
in
think
Jurassic
this
World
is
3.
why Jurassic World 2
It stinks.
because they just sucked with doing that. You
Yeah.
brought them to
Like, they were supposed to
society.
be a horror movie, and it's like, well, we already kind of did have the horror movie with
Isn't
the first one. They're like,
Jurassic
the first
World
one.
2, they're trying to like use them as like weapons or something.
They're
right?
buying them on the black market.
It's
Yeah.
so dumb. Like
It's not a good film.
And
so
there's
dumb.
that like raptor. There's the raptor, but they're just in that mansion the whole time.
Yeah,
Like,
which
they're-
we'll save.
Like-
We'll save that
But like
discussion.
they're trying to use them as weapons in like a
Well,
war.
I only
or
watched it
something.
once, so I
Like,
gotta
it's
Same.
rewatch it.
I have
and
not
figure
rewatched
it.
it.
out,
It's so dumb.
So we'll save our reactions.
Maybe I'll
for
like
that.
it better having
It's
seen all these other ones.
Rewatches. Oh,
Because I
think things
haven't
different?
rewatched these. Like I didn't rewatch these for Jurassic World or Jurassic
Yeah.
World 2.
Jurassic
World I've seen probably 4 or 5 times now. Though.
Yeah, I
really like
love
actually
Jurassic
good. That's
World,
a good
which is
movie,
interesting. We'll have to figure out if we have Nikki V on or a different
People
perspective.
shit on
Marvel Marvel hates that.
people
Maybe.
shit on Chris Pratt and the Raptors, and I think it's awesome.
I love Chris Pratt.
Maybe it would be good to have Marvel on then because we'll have that
It's
perspective.
a different perspective.
He's very fun to argue with, so
Yeah, he has his
because
moments.
he's just so frustrating.
But people, these movies are
no,
divisive.
no.
Nope. But yeah, all right. I think that does it for us here. Remember to rate, like, and subscribe. Again, sorry about that hour of messy content, but there's a lot of fun in there, so I hope you listen to it.
T-Rexes probably don't sound as terrifying. That
They
walked by.
definitely do not.
One more for the road.
One more for the road. Spin
It's
it.
gonna be a double, boys. Uh-oh. All right, all three
As-
of us at the same time?
As a good film ends, also should a good podcast. Remember to rate, like, subscribe, and follow us on all the social media platforms. We will see you next for Jurassic World. Either the first 2 movies or all 3 we haven't decided yet. But, all right, here we go.
There are dinosaurs in Jurassic Park. Oh no, they just escaped. The power went out, setting them all free. Run for your life.